chemtrails in the air. Chemtrails in the air. They don't seem to care. We are ready. We could form again. Chemtrails in the air. They don't seem to care. We are ready. We could form again. Feels a better. No food to grow. Chemicals are still unknown. They want us to know. They managed just to decide our lives from above. No place for truth, only lies wrapped in love. Rise above their schemes, fight back with seeds, grow your own means, break from their knees. Fight back with seeds, grow your own means, break from their needs. Under the gray sky we walk, clouds of poison over our head. They say it's all for our good, but we are left in dread. Breathing in what they spread, trying to keep us in chains. Pharma pills to numb the pain, but the sickness remains. Chemtrails in the air, they don't seem to care. We are getting weaker, pharma getting richer. Fields of anger, no food to grow. Chemicals to steal our glow. They don't want us to know. Big men in suits decide our lives from above. No place for truth, only lies wrapped in love. Rise above this game, fight back with seeds, grow your own needs, break from their knees. Chemtrails in the air. Chemtrails in the air, they don't seem to care. We are ready, we could form again. Chemtrails in the air, they don't seem to care. We are ready, we could form again. Feels a better. No food to grow. Chemicals are still unknown. They want us to know. They managed just to decide our lives from above. No place for truth, only lies wrapped in love. Rise above their schemes, fight back with seeds, grow your own means, break from their knees. Mm-hmm. minds on to who got this land's fate, neglecting other voices in this grand debate. Are we truly free if we don't hear the rest in this great conversation? Do we do our best? Echoes of liberty in the land of the brave. Yet some voices are silent, buried in a way. Are we truly free if we don't hear the rest in this great conversation? Do we do our best? Echoes of liberty in the land of the brave. Yet some voices are silent, buried in a way. Oh, way. To rule everything, we see the hidden schemes in the night they dream. They cover secret plans, control all the lands. But we stand side by side, our hearts open wide. We do not comply. We rise up to the sky. Together so we'll fly. We do not comply. They whisper in the dark, trying to leave their mark. But we won't ever bow. We're breaking free right now. Their walls are closing in, but we fight to win. With unity as fire, we'll never tire. We do not comply. We rise up to the sky. Together so we'll fly. We do not comply. Whoa. But we fight to win. With unity as fire, we'll never tire. We do not comply. We rise up to the sky. Together so we'll fly. We do not comply. We do not comply. We do not comply. We do not comply. Sworn allegiance to the streets, never bow to deceit. Authority's grip, got your boy feeling sick. Staying woke, open eyes while they plotting demise. Underground whispers, truth be the prize. We the phoenix rising from the flames, giving crawlers saying no to submission like them thugs on a mission. Global puppeteers trying to tie the streets tight, but we guerrilla warfare, keeping the fire alight. Harmony of rebels, a random that was nightfall. Unity and breakable, blood boils tribal. Authority trappers, globalist schemes. Trash, we the free resist. Turn the plans to ash. Street education, knowledge paved in concrete. Talking cipher in the alleys where some runs deep. No corporate release can't control our fleet. We hustle futures, turn the plans to ash. Street education, knowledge paved in concrete. Talking cipher in the alleys where some runs deep.
No corporate release can't control our fate. We hustle futures, disrupt their elite. Paper trails and red tape, trying to fame us all. But the free spirit echoes down Freedom Hall. They wanna lock us down, make us slaves to the crime. But the soul of the warrior never confined. Harmony of rebels, a random they will stifle. Unity unbreakable, blood royal tribal. Authority trembles, globalist schemes crash. We are free, persist, turn the flames to ash. Sing tales of resistance, legends in our veins. Silhouette of freedom, dancing in the rains. Every run of battle, every beat was set against the machine. Reclaim our land. Citizens of truth, no kingdom royal, just grit and grind. We forever loyal. Non-compliant soldiers, we warriors of mind. March to the beat, never fall in line. No authoritarian rule can shackle a race. Star-seed mystics control the strength. With every verse we spit, we break the plan. Freedom is cried for the palm of our hand. Harmony of rebels, a race of people stifle. Unity unbreakable, blood royal tribal. Authority trembles, globalist schemes crash. We are free, persist, turn the flames to ash. Harmony of rebels, a race of people stifle. Unity unbreakable.
City lights and country roads, this is the place where freedom grows. From the mountains to the seas, this land of hope and dreams. Fields of gold and skies so blue, hear the call, it's ringing true. Through the struggle, through the strife, we hold the torch of life. Oh, America, land of the brave. In freedom's light, we pave the way. Together, strong through every tear, we stand as one, no room for fear. Voices rise from coast to coast, each one a story we can boast. In unity we find our strength, in liberty we trust and thank. Home of the free under the sun, united hearts we beat as one. With every step, with every mile, in every face a hopeful smile. Oh, America, land of the brave. In freedom's light, we pave the way. Together, strong through every tear, we stand as one, no room for fear. Room for fear. No room for fear. Home of the free, under the sun, united hearts we beat as one. With every step, with every mile, in every face a hopeful smile. Oh, America, land of the brave. They try to pull the strings to rule everything. We see the hidden schemes in the night they dream. They plot with secret plans
control all the lands. But we stand side by side, our hearts open wide. We do not comply. We rise up to the sky. Together so we'll fly. We do not comply. They whisper in the dark, trying to leave their mark. But we won't ever bow. We're breaking free right now. Their walls are closing in, but we fight to win. With unity as fire, we'll never tire. We do not comply. We rise up to the sky. Together so we'll fly. We do not comply. But we fight to win.
Hey Siri, do I have a stopwatch?
Are you kidding me? You're already talking to your phone?
Well, yeah, I want my stopwatch.
Jesus Christ.
What are you timing?
Welcome to the live debate of the fall of the Republic.
It's a very, very exciting time to be alive.
We have a bunch of great guests tonight. I want to introduce them, and then we're going to go through some stuff, and then, we'll watch the shit show. So first is Micah
Hello.
and Mark. That's Chris. Sorry, I went to Chris on the wrong. Micah and Marc Pane. Dan's not here. So
Maybe it'll be a good one.
yeah, and then we have County Commissioner Chris Shermack. Everyone cheer. Yay. So I want to real quick talk to Marc Pane and Micah Woodard about how to steal an election.
Huh?
Do you want to tell them about what you guys did for First Friday?
No.
I don't know what he's talking about. Do you?
I don't know what he's
I
talking
have no idea. What he's talking about.
So I have
Why am I getting blamed for this?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
because it's funny.
It's not. Shut up.
You're gonna get
And
us
besides,
in
if
trouble.
I knew how to steal an election, I'd be a councilman in the city of Scranton right now.
Right.
Oh, watch it
Well,
burn.
Well,
I'm
it
just
took us
saying.
a minute and a half to all get in trouble.
So tonight is obviously the debate. There are some things going on that I don't know if people know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut over real quick to the keynote. Can you guys see that keynote? No, wait, that's the debate. Okay, hold on. There we go. Can you guys see that?
No.
No.
You guys can't see the keynote?
There we go.
CNN debate. Okay.
Oh.
So there's a couple of things going on. I don't know if you guys know this, but CNN is not wanting to allow anyone to show the debate. So this is independent journalist Link Lauren catching us up on what that means.
Everybody wake up. The debate is in a few hours, and we have a pretty scary, concerning development we need to talk about. CNN is not going to have an audience for the debate tonight. They're also going to be cutting microphones, but we just found out they're not allowing a single reporter from the White House press corps into the studio. Kelly O'Donnell, the president of the White House Correspondents Association, released a statement begging CNN to at least let one print reporter into the room. I just spoke to two friends of mine, one of whom is actually there on the ground in Atlanta, and they both relayed that this is a very serious issue for CNN, a journalistic institution, to not allow any outside reporters in. Imagine if Fox News was having a debate and they didn't allow anyone from CNN into the actual room. To give some context, as many of you know, I went to all the presidential debates last fall. Here I am with my friend Ariane from ABC News. We're in the spin room. The spin room is where candidates and their surrogates come before, during, and after the debate to speak to the press. Now, it's normal for journalists to watch the debate from the spin spin room or in the media filing center, but that center is always depressing. It has bad fluorescent lighting, and you're crammed in there like sardines. The New York Times just published an article saying White House journalists urge CNN to widen debate access. I agree. We need more transparency in American politics, not less. We need more information, not less. If CNN is not going to have an audience, they're going to cut microphones. There's going to be a delay on the feed. They need to at least allow people from the White House press pool into the actual auditorium. Now, my hope is that in the next few hours, CNN changes their minds. Maybe we can put some pressure on them. They need to allow more journalists into the room.
What do you guys think of that?
Sounds kind of shady.
Sounds real shady, right?
It's CNN. What did you expect?
Well, I'd expect that like fair use, which falls under because it's detrimental to the health and prosperity of our country, don't you think?
Do you think they care? Have
No.
they in the last 8 years?
No, they haven't cared at all.
So why would they care now?
Who's this Link Lauren fella?
Well, he is an independent journalist.
That's a guy?
Well, yeah.
I mean, sorry
I
if we
mean,
assumed
no
your gender,
disrespect.
Link.
I'm sorry.
He actually said some very nice things about Vivek Ramaswamy, about how he treated independent journalists and how he's being fair and blah blah blah. But I cut all that out for time. So I want to. After that, what I'd like to do is
That's a weird set of rules for a debate. Like to
Yes.
allow no journalists in 7
well, a
minutes.
debate. This debate is 3 months early. Why do you guys think that this debate is 3 months early than usual?
Wow.
I'm thinking that they're going to hope that Biden implodes either on stage so they can replace him before the.
I think end of August.
Yeah, that's.
I have a
that's
sneaking
what I'm
suspicion
thinking.
neither one of them will be the nominee in November.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Hot take. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm prepping for a slow motion planned car crash with two cars.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Things are going great, guys. I really am optimistic.
What?
I'm just sitting over here laughing. Okay, so
Sarcasm.
some of the things that they're going to be here's the
Post earlier. Rome is burning. Let's just go
I just
do it.
gotta work. I'm a little slow right now.
So here's the CNN restrictions for tonight. There is no audience. They are cutting the microphones. Now, the interesting thing about cutting the microphones
Is that only for time?
No. It's if somebody wants to interrupt.
Oh, God.
So they're cutting the microphones, but they're so close that all Trump has to do is say whatever he says, and then Biden it's gonna look weird because he's gonna be glitching out with no audio from the.
So unlike a commissioner's meeting,
No,
there
we
won't be
don't
any
cut our
open
mics. We leave our mics hot,
apparently,
Yes.
yeah. All right.
except for
Okay.
me.
Oh yeah, no, I see. Awesome.
Little kerfuffle happened a couple weeks ago. There is no White House press corps reporters in that room.
That might be the strangest one.
That's
and there's a 2-minute delay as opposed to a 7-second delay, which is normally what happens for live television. Weird, right?
Yeah.
well, that probably gives them enough time for the defibrillator. I would assume.
They have a
Yeah.
crew on standby. The
Oh, God.
paddles. Wham.
I'd be surprised if it's actually him. I
Okay.
really would.
So here are the debate topics.
Oh, they released them?
So I went through and figured out like what are the top 10 things that would be topics that we would expect to hear.
Okay.
First is the economy.
Okay.
These are in no particular order. Crime,
Okay.
abortion,
Okay.
climate change, foreign policy, healthcare, and immigration. Do you guys all agree with those?
Yeah.
So do you think that those are going to be
I think that's pretty close.
Yeah, I think foreign
Yeah.
policy casts a wide net, so that'll cover a lot.
Yeah.
I think the biggest ones right now, though, are based on what I'm hearing and seeing is the economy and immigration are the big two.
Yep. And with crime following really close.
Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of put crime and immigration kind of in the same basic camp.
Well, one breeds the other for
yeah.
the most part.
Abortion is
And I don't know why
abortion
they
has-
call it immigration because it's not.
well,
You know,
if and
It's a
words
migration.
matter. That's the way that I look at the world. Is words matter.
they do.
The word immigration means something. To be an immigrant, you have to go through a port of immigration. If you
Right.
don't, you are not an immigrant. You are not immigrating.
Right. And if you just sneak into the country,
Right.
you're not an immigrant.
Right.
You know, you
I think
migrated.
I think abortion is going to be a big one. I think that's going to be a big topic. I mean, it was in the last election cycle.
Unfortunately,
Yeah. Foreign policy is starting to rear its ugly head. Like, I mean, a lot of Biden's young base are turning on him pretty hard over Ukraine, Russia, and Israel, Gaza. So that'll be interesting.
Did any of you ever think months ago, when everyone who was a Republican was called an anti-Semite for any criticism of anything, that all of a sudden, basically from the river to the sea, that stuff would be like blatant anti-Semitism would be happening from the left?
Well,
is that strange to you?
I think it's become a tenet of certain people that they find self-worth and value in being an ally with victims. There's a victimhood mentality. So I think for those people, they look at what's happening over there as these are the oppressors, these are the aggressors. So it doesn't matter what these people are or what they do, they're the victim. And I think that's my basic way of wrapping my head around it.
So do you think it's just a mindset and not like, do you think anyone's influencing this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
like who or what?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd go down the
so you think something
conspiracy
is influencing it? You just don't like, there's nothing blatantly influencing it.
Where does a poor college student all of a sudden get 400 matching tents to stage a protest at Columbia?
That I don't know.
Bingo.
Okay. Moving on. So our candidates. Is everyone as excited about this as I am?
I'm very excited.
Okay, so
like
I asked,
inappropriately excited about
so
this.
I asked AI to tell me the things that each candidate would be running on. So this is according to Grok. First up, we have Trump, and these are the things that he will be running on. He will talk about the economy, immigration, healthcare access, good standing on the world stage, and high GDP growth. Do you guys agree with that?
Yep.
I agree with 4 out of the 5. I don't know if he's really going to focus that much on healthcare access.
Because,
I mean, if he was smart, he would. He'd come in. If he was smart, he would come in with a solution for, because his big thing was removing the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare.
right?
But he never really had an idea of where to go from there. So I think it would be smart of him to come to the table with, here's the plan on that one.
Well, I think he wanted to remove the borders for healthcare, so you could buy your healthcare
Yeah.
in California, Virginia. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I think that would help. That would open up.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So I think he did say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, good standing on the world stage. That's a big one. I mean, we look pretty bad right now.
Like, do we
Oh my
look
God.
we look weak?
Oh
Weak.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, what is, so for people who don't know, like, why is that important to not look weak or to not be weak?
There's a strength in that. Like, I mean, America has since World War II. Granted, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the military-industrial complex, but we've kind of kept the world in check for a while. You know, yeah, you're going to have random rogue things that flare up here and there, but America has been able to kind of keep everything in check. I don't think it's a coincidence that as soon as Biden took office, Russia decided to invade Ukraine. I don't think it's a coincidence of what's happening in the Middle East. You know, look at what happened in Afghanistan in his first year. I mean, it's not going great.
So Payne does his laugh.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
disgusted with it.
Yeah.
Honest to God. I mean, honestly, and I mean, I'm a little older than you, but I mean, you know, it's like 70, 77, 79, somewhere in there. When I was a kid, every day you picked up the newspaper from the hostage crisis moving forward. There was trouble in the Middle East. There was trouble in Iran. There was trouble in Iraq, Kuwait, Lebanon, all of them. For years. I mean, there wasn't a day where you couldn't pick up a paper or turn on the news and that they didn't mention some sort of bullshit going on over the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
First curse,
Well, all fucking right.
second curse.
Did I win anything? But in any event, the 2016 came. You didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
16, 17, 18, 19. I mean, we had basically, I mean, we had, for the first time ever, we really had peace in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2020 came,
Mm-hmm.
and all hell broke loose again. So how could you tell me that this guy, I mean, is he rough around the edges? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, does a guy I want to, like, you know, invite over to my house to have dinner? Probably not. But I trust him, you know, and I think the rest of the world did too. And I think they were a little afraid of him, which is good. You
Well,
know?
there's an element of part of his personality. He does kind of give off a little bit of loose cannon energy when it comes to things like that. You know, even in some of the rhetoric. After I can't remember his name, but it was, I think, an Iranian general. Soleimani. A video came out and it was comparing
Like
Obama,
a dog.
Obama talking about tonight the United States has conducted an operation where we have killed Osama bin Laden, and then it was like Trump, like, he died like a dog. It's like,
There's a comedian
Yeah.
that does that. And I love it.
yeah,
Shane Gillis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shane Gillis.
yeah.
did.
So it's like there is a little
cry.
element of him that I'm like, oh, like, all right, dude, calm down, like, relax.
Yeah.
But again,
But again, the rest of the
The
world
numbers don't lie.
heard him say that, and they're
Yeah.
like, this guy's
numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
first president since World War II not to engage us in a new conflict.
Yep. And that's all they said, you know, pre-16 was, you know, oh, this guy gets
World
in
War III is
from
coming.
World War III.
Yep.
Well, we have the guy that's supposed to have united all of us, and
Mhm.
there's war all over the place.
Yeah, the economy is going to be the obvious huge one. You know,
it's great.
yeah.
What are you talking about?
What are eggs, like $7-8 a dozen?
I don't know. I can't afford them.
You know, so yeah, I think the economy is going to be the biggest one.
Okay.
And
Anything else in that group that you'd like to discuss?
Nope.
No? All right. You want to move on to Biden's,
yeah,
what he's going to do?
yeah.
Okay.
He's been working on it for 50 years. So,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
he's-
he's getting close.
He's getting there.
Yeah.
So, okay. Preserving democracy, healthcare access, economic stability and normalcy, border security, foreign affairs.
It's interesting how they use different phrases for Biden versus Trump. You know,
Yeah.
border security versus immigration, foreign affairs versus foreign policy.
Do you think that for the last 4 years, any of those have been excelled at or handled appropriately?
No.
Nothing.
If I look at the 5 tenets of what they were saying about Trump and the 5 tenets about Biden, I look at it from, are they going to take an offensive or defensive approach to it? And I think if you look at Trump, I think 1, 2, 3 is the only one for Trump. It was the healthcare is the only one he's going to have to take a defensive approach on. The rest he can take an offensive approach on. On all 5 of these, Biden's going to have to take a defensive approach because he's not done well at them.
I can sum that up in just one word. Well, I think it's 2 words, but I'm not sure. You ready for curse 3? Bullshit.
He's the best.
Yeah. Like, are you kidding me?
And I'm going to say this, and like,
Border
don't know if-
security. That's
yeah, I don't know if I've ever talked about it before, but one of my least favorite phrases is preserving democracy. It is the dumbest thing in the world. That is a phrase for dumb people to use. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic.
yes.
We function as a constitutional republic. The only time that we have democracy is on one day where everybody gets to go and democratically vote. And as soon as 8 o'clock hits or whatever the time is, we instantly revert back to a constitutional republic where then the process of electors and Congress take hold. And it's stupid, preserving democracy. It's like, it's a weak way of looking at the political landscape of this country.
Why do they always say it's democracy? Like, why is that word used instead of like the truth of it all, which is it's a constitutional
Because most people
republic?
aren't smart enough to understand that, so they dumb it down for dumb people to vote in dumb ways.
Because it sounds like it's America.
But don't you think it would as long as they're told the truth on how to do that it would sound good? Like, don't you think that they would get it? Like, if you're teaching it to kids and all that, don't you think that like constitutional republic, here's what that means? Don't you think that would be more valuable to a child than?
Well, I don't think they even want to mention the word constitution to a child anymore because they don't want them to read it.
They don't want that. You don't think? Is that why they? So I've heard people say that that's why they got rid of civics, because the Democrats were concerned that their children would turn into conservatives, and the conservative parents were concerned that their children would turn into Democrats. Do you think that like civics would be a valuable thing to have in schools?
But yeah, absolutely, it would be a valuable thing to have in schools. We should still have it in schools. It was there when I was in school, and look at me.
Just using all the dirty words.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we are moving on to Kennedy
Okay.
because he is
The dead one?
no.
Oh.
So he's looking to
Wow,
end.
he's got a lot of shit.
Well, he's more nuanced in his words. if you listen to Trump or Biden, they're just very.
What is he polling at right now compared to Trump and Biden? Do we know that?
Depending on who you talk to, it's 20% or
Isn't the threshold 15 to be in the debates?
yes, they screwed him out of the debates.
Okay.
So he wants to end the corrupt merger of state and corporate power. He wants to reduce chronic disease rates in children. He wants to lower tuition costs and place responsibility on schools for loan defaults. He wants to reduce corporate connections with federal agencies. And he wants to train police officers in de-escalation techniques and mediation skills.
Yeah.
Anybody have any issues with that?
I don't have
5.
any issue with the 5. My issue is those are not the 5 most pressing issues in the country.
No.
Like they're all good things to work on, but we have other things to work on first.
So you don't think that ending the corporate merger of state and corporate power, which Mussolini referred to as fascism, would be on the top of the list because it seems like there is some sort of relationship between the federal government and corporations, which Eisenhower called the military-industrial complex?
I do agree that that's a major issue. I don't know if I would put that above things like the border, crime, economy, and foreign policy.
Well, I think all those things are symptoms.
They're all
of that,
maybe
of
tied
that
into
injury.
it. Yeah, maybe.
I think you're shaded.
Shaded?
You.
What is that? What does shaded
'Cause I
mean?
think you like this guy.
I like him.
I don't dislike him.
I like him too. Oh, honest to God, if it
I would
wasn't
love
for
to
his policy on guns, I would probably back him.
He has changed his policy on
Yeah,
guns.
he changed it over the past year.
Over the past year, all
Yeah.
of a sudden.
Dude, there was 3 months. The beginning of the pandemic, I was a hardcore liberal. I changed my views on everything.
We beat that out of you.
Yeah, we did.
Anything to say, Kamish?
No, I'm just still gathering my.
We beat him
thoughts.
until he could name his 5 favorite cereals.
That's right. What was your first favorite?
My first favorite was
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and if you say otherwise, you're a communist. Apple Jacks has got to be in there.
Count Chocula.
if I had my druthers, it
Do I
would
have
be
diabetes?
Golden Grams.
What?
I'm a big fan of Golden Grams. They're not just good; they're golden.
It's a golden.
I don't think.
So those are our people. Those are the ones that we're looking at. And what do you guys think is going to come? Like, what do you think the next? Sorry, everybody who's watching this, I have to do like 3, 4, 5 jobs at the same time. So like, if I'm skipping to weird shit and I don't know what I'm doing, it's because Dan's not here and he is the yin to my yang, and I will miss him terribly. He's got.
He's not
the end
dead.
of your
He's
yang.
coming back.
No, I just like to yell at him, and now it's like
that's not what you said before. About it.
Okay,
Shut up.
so what do we
Wow.
think comes next? That's the big question.
Well, I think like, okay, so like we went through those things. It's 8:30. I like, what would you like to hear? Like, we're all in this for the Victorian Freak Show. Like, we want to watch this because we're like, it's the same reason why people watch Ricky Lake and Howard Stern. I want to see what happens next.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we're here tonight, is to watch this slow motion train crash of whatever the hell our country is.
Sad.
But what would you guys like? What would you like to see? Like, I don't think, like, Mark, you're a hardcore conservative, but I think that you're part of the conservatives that, like, even if it was a Democrat president, you didn't want them to do bad.
No, absolutely. I don't want any. I didn't want this clown to do bad. I mean, he won. He got in. I get it. What's with the noise?
CNN's getting ready.
Oh, there you go.
Hold on.
But I mean, I really prayed for him to do good. I didn't want him
Just
there,
pull the volume down.
but
I can't see it.
apparently he sucked ass.
Yeah, I'll be real honest with you. I said it to you guys earlier. I don't know if one or either one of them are going to be the candidates in November.
You did.
Well, tonight I'm looking. I want to see Trump. I would like to see him be more presidential.
100%.
Yeah,
That's
what does that mean?
Absolutely.
So let's
Well-
define that.
Well, not just crazy talk, but more like what you think a president would be.
The way he speaks, the way he conducts himself, carries himself.
Yeah, I mean, he can
less
still
argumentative.
he can still be himself, but I'd like to see him a little more control.
Mhm.
What do you mean, like a little bit more stoic, a little bit more
Yeah.
restrained, a little bit more,
Yeah.
you know, not saying crazy
'Cause
rocket
I think he's
man.
a great president. I think he's a great president. And but it doesn't shut everybody up. That's one thing.
Yeah, I mean, short of some tomfoolery, if these two are the candidates in November, I think tonight, whoever wins this tonight is going to be the president. In my opinion, I think.
You think just based off of this evening in June of
I think
2024?
I think that if Biden does horribly, they yank him as the candidate.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he's going to have some sort of meltdown.
I mean, and whether you like him or not, if you're an honest person, you have to look at him and see that he is at some level of cognitive decline. I mean, it's painfully obvious.
Absolutely.
oh my god.
You know,
do you think that the fact that like all these people are saying that he is in some sort of cognitive decline, do you think that that's like incredibly apparent to people?
Should be.
Like,
if they're going to put their biases aside and be honest with themselves? Yes.
Do you think people are lying to themselves, saying that he's
100%.
not?
100%.
Like, why would people say that he's not? And Mark, don't be afraid to get in that microphone.
Well, and I'm not. But the problem with that too is, like, even if you notice, CNN and all the left wing media especially in the last few weeks, and they've been saying that, people are talking about Biden being, this cognitive decline, and it's not true, and they're all supporting him, and they're all trying to like push where he's not, and they're saying that, all the right wing media is making the shit up. And it's anybody that's seen the guy out in public or even talked to him, you could tell. I mean, my mother-in-law, God bless her, I mean, she has dementia very bad. He's not far behind her.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
So based on your experiences with her, you see similarities in their behavior.
I see what she was 3 or 4 years ago with him today.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah. I mean, hers, she progressed fast. God love her.
But I think the reason that some people will deny it or say that it's not true or made up, I think it's because there is such a, I don't know if hatred is the right word, but there's so many people that genuinely think that Trump is the Antichrist.
Oh no, hatred is the right word. They hate him.
They hate him.
It's
I did just say that they
Yeah,
think he's
no,
the
they do.
Antichrist. So there's that. That they have played so many mental gymnastics that they have to, in their mind, think that he's okay, because as of right now, looking at the past decade, he's the only person who can beat Trump.
Yeah.
So their hopes and dreams are all tied up in this guy.
Absolutely.
And that's
I get it. I feel
very
bad
scary.
for them, but it is what it is.
Well, I
But
find it
it's
very hard
definitely
to believe.
hatred. I think you're 100% correct.
Mhm.
It's hatred. I mean, look how they treated me in particular.
Mhm.
As soon as I went public with that commercial in 2020,
Yes.
I had so many people. I had people calling my house. My house was shot at, drive-by shooting up.
Did you know that, Chris? Did
Right.
you know that
No.
his house was shot at?
It was funny.
No.
I mean,
You didn't
just
know that?
Crazy. I had, like maybe about 7 to 10 customers call me up. I had one lady who hadn't called me in years. She called me up. It was a Sunday night. My cell phone's ringing because my shop forward used to be forwarded to
Yeah.
it. It's not anymore. Everyone calls me up and she's, "Oh, do you remember me?" I said, "Yeah, I'll never come to you again. You're a Nazi. You're this." And I'm like, "What?"
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people they hate him, so they
Yeah.
hate anybody that's associated with him.
Yeah.
It's
Why do they hate him?
I don't know, because the media, I think, pushed him that way.
I mean, what did he do
you know,
that was bad for the country?
right? And it's not what he did that was bad for the country. It might have been the things that he said or he had done previous to being president.
Is it
before
what he
was running.
said, or they don't like how he said it?
Probably a little of both, I would assume.
Or they don't like what they heard from media outlets as to what he said that he didn't actually say.
Right? Yeah, there's a lot of that too
Yeah.
that they twisted.
Did you turn
around.
on the air in here?
I can turn it on.
Yeah, I might want to turn a little air on.
Okay.
It's going to get stuffy in here. I can already feel myself getting heated.
All right. So
I'm ready to rage.
I'm gonna,
You all
so
right?
while I'm going to do that, why don't you guys real quick talk about like?
Hey, I
what-
ordered a pizza, so if it's out front, you want
Is
to
it
bring
really?
that in for me?
Did you really order a pizza?
No, I
That would
didn't.
be hilarious.
All right, give me one second.
$20, right?
It's $20. Same as down.
Oh man.
Well, I think it all started with Drain the Swamp. That's what started to piss everybody off.
Well, if there's anything we've learned from the history of presidents, I mean, we just talked about RFK Jr. and his family's history.
But what does that mean? Drain the swamp. What do you think what do you think that meant?
Well,
I think it offended most everybody in Washington.
Well, and as a general rule, if you tell the FBI or CIA that you're going to smash them into 10,000 pieces, they tend to want to get rid of you.
Well, that was Kennedy. Kennedy said that.
Right. Trump also said it, though.
You mean the guy that was
100%.
shot 3 times in the head with a bolt action rifle from like 250 yards
There was a
away?
4th bullet.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
James.
I know way too much about this.
James Tague was the guy under the bridge.
Yep.
He was the third. He was the third injury. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you? So I'm going to ask you this: have you seen the rhetoric? Like, what did you notice about the rhetoric that made you go like, something's weird here? They're not exactly being genuinely honest with their portrayal of, because the crazy thing is like, okay, so conservatives at the time knew that what they were saying about him was bullshit, right? And then Biden becomes president, and conservatives look at what they're saying about Biden, and they're like, that's bullshit. So, like, how can you trust any of these organizations to tell you anything? Like, the newspaper does it, the local newspaper does it, the local news does it, the mainstream media, i.e., like the traditional media or corporate media, legacy media, whatever you want to call it. It's like they're objectively telling us to not believe our eyes. Like, have you noticed that
Oh yeah,
over the last few years?
definitely.
What do you test that to? Do you just test that to like people in power that
The
are
people in power
going to
don't-
lunches together?
They don't want somebody like Trump to get in there and change things. That's the problem.
Well, he can't be controlled by
Right.
the typical people
That's
that
right.
control
And
and
they
pull
don't
the
want
puppet
that.
I
strings.
think that's the biggest thing.
That's what it is. I mean, they created a pandemic to try to take him out. I mean, they've done everything.
Are you telling me
No, he's not. No, he's not.
that
I am.
the Wuhan COVID novel coronavirus lab may or may not have created this?
Somebody ate a
God.
bad bat.
It
That's
was-
what
it
it was.
was.
What did Jon Stewart say? Are you telling me that a bat mated with a pangolin?
And all the information coming out about that is pretty dire about how they lied. 6 feet was a lie. The masks were a lie. Everyone knows how I feel about the vaccines.
I will never ever wear a mask ever again, unless. My
But, you
wife
know,
asks
so-
me to.
but the
other than
issue-
that, no.
The issue with it is that, unfortunately, Trump pushed all that. You know what I mean? Like that. So like if Trump didn't push all that stuff, right? Robert Kennedy wouldn't be a blip in any of this. Like, I still don't understand how Trump hasn't come out and gone,
I think
hey, mistakes were made.
absolutely, but I think he pushed all that because of that little prick, Fauci. You know, I think he really trusted and believed what Fauci was telling him, and I think until the ball already started rolling, and he saw that this was bullshit, that he was like, you know,
You're telling me that Tony Fauci might have lied to us?
lied to us.
Not Tony.
But why hasn't he said anything since?
Well, I think he's had other issues on his mind.
He's had
besides
other
Tony
issues.
Fauci.
And I think also, too, it's part of his personality. He's not exactly the greatest at being like, I messed up.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that too.
You know,
Is that something that we should like? So he's, to me, all three of the candidates are imperfect people, right? Some just aggressively more than others. Some of them are Weekend at Bernie's. But don't you think that, like, as a Trump supporter, that he should at least say, look, we got the things done that they said were impossible? Or has he said that? Maybe he's come out and said, like, I was against the mandates.
He has,
I was against.
with warp speed and all that. He did do things that were really impossible, and he he accomplished all that. I mean, that was all set in motion before Sleepy Joe got in. But I don't know. I don't think I think it's over. It's done with. Let Biden deal with the fallout of the mess, because he's the one that's been pushing it with the shots and everything else.
Does anybody here know how many boosters are up to?
I think they're up to like 7,
Yeah,
right?
I think there's 6 or 7. Isn't it?
Yeah, there's 6.
Right?
There's 6. There's people that have taken 6.
I was at the drugstore not too long ago, and people came in with gloves and masks, and they were there. They get their like umpteenth booster. Like,
they all drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
I think, you know what it is though. I think a lot of people did. I think a lot of people. You know, I've yet to do this in a crowd, is to say anyone who's happy they took the vaccine, raise your hand. I haven't done that yet, but I know that in a crowd of people who haven't taken it, when I say, hey, are you glad you didn't take it, all hands go up.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, fear is an amazing motivator, and when you can make people so fearful, they'll do just about anything. We've talked about it before. It's a more powerful emotion than even love.
Oh yeah, totally.
I mean, yeah.
It's just I don't know why everybody hasn't
Do you
really.
really know love?
He doesn't. Okay.
Just saying.
So, do we have sound on CNN?
It would be nice if we did.
Okay. So, let's see. And like I said,
what's this little like picture on the right?
Come and let him speak.
I mean, do you think, does he sort of change in the moment, just riffing how he feels in the moment, or is it something he kind of thinks of as he's going to bed that night? And
Anderson
just
Cooper
thinks in his head,
postulating.
doesn't tell
That's a
anybody?
guy I just don't like.
I think sometimes he plays around with these things on his own. I think sometimes, as you see, he poll tests it because he thinks it's going to please whatever crowd he's in front of. Whatever's on his mind is often what he does with these crowds, and it could be anything. It could be, he's been poll testing everyone about VP at various fundraisers, and this is along the same line.
I mean, is it incredibly obvious that those at CNN are totally like brainwashed biased?
100%.
Well, I think this is what a lot of people miss out on, is like when you look at like the news and like different programs on the news, whether it be CNN, Fox, MSNBC, all of them, you have to understand there is a difference between the news and opinion. And my great issue with people like an Anderson Cooper he is presenting himself as, I'm just giving you the news, and it's an opinion piece. Just call it what it is. It's like,
is it an opinion piece
Kelly.
or is
I was going to say on a local level.
Yeah,
Chris Kelly doesn't give us the news. He's an opinion writer.
Yeah, he's right.
And so
but I don't think he doesn't claim he's Anderson Cooper. Like, he never has claimed that. The problem is that you have people that are like in positions of like that we used to think of, like Walter Cronkite or Peter Jennings or Dan Rather or any of those people, that they're giving you the day's events in a condensed way, and it's honest, just the facts, man.
Just the facts.
And Chris, you know how like we all feel about Chris Kelly. Like, if he didn't work for the newspaper, we'd probably hang out, bust each other's balls, and have a great time. But
no, I wouldn't.
he doesn't.
No, I wouldn't.
You don't think he'd hang out at the shop?
No, he would not hang out at the shop.
Ooh, Greece.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, what people need to realize is that Anderson Cooper is reading a script. Anybody who reads a script is an actor. This is all,
right.
yeah.
They're all actors. Absolutely.
So this to me is all like a TV show. It's like Netflix to me.
Are those pretzels for anyone?
Yeah.
Everyone, they're all there for you guys.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering.
They go
Thank
good
you.
with olives.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Sounds about right. All right. Economy age. Israel-Hamas war. Key concerns about Biden for voters.
Want to turn it up a little bit?
Yeah.
Trump, though, also has a long list of weaknesses that could be debate flashpoints. Joan London just left the Republican Party and registered as an independent.
I had more of a positive vision, just a different emphasis, and what I'm seeing in the National Party just didn't reflect my values the way it had.
Linda Rooney hasn't ruled out voting for Trump, but January 6th is an obstacle.
I remember watching it on TV, and I couldn't believe that it was happening, and I was angry that that Trump didn't say something, that Trump didn't stop it.
and yet you still might vote for him.
I might. Yeah.
Matt Vrahodes is a Georgia Christian conservative pondering a third-party vote because of doubts about Trump's character.
I really like
Honestly, I wish
wine.
that there was another candidate that would have come through the primaries instead of it being just, Donald Trump.
Yes, many minds are already made up. But for those with doubts about both Biden and Trump, this is a giant test.
Joining us now to talk more about this right now, though, is CNN senior political analyst
So we're getting
Malika
one side
Henderson
of
and
this.
Washington bureau chief for USA Today, Susan Page, and definitely relevant today, Susan moderated.
What'd you say? I'm sorry, what'd you say?
debate
We're only getting one
between
side of
Mike
this.
Pence and Kamala Harris.
Well, yeah, it's called CNN.
It's
Yeah.
great to
Communist
see you
News
guys.
Network.
Susan, let's do a little.
Well, isn't
compare and
Fox going to
contrast.
air
I'll
this
start
too?
with you.
But they're
Reasons
going to be
that you-
minutes behind, right?
No. So Fox is allowed to air this. They're allowed to like live comment on it and whatever. The problem is that no one else is. So it seems like CNN, Fox, MSNBC are in cahoots, but all media underneath there are
Nothing.
not allowed.
I thought ABC was having it too.
Well, it's the whole traditional, legacy media people. Those are all the ones that are, allowed to continue to tell us what to believe.
Yeah, I think tonight's really going to boil down to, like Chris said, can Trump be more presidential? And if he chooses to go down the more traditional, boxer style, he's here to spar, can Biden stand up to that? Now, again, another comedian, but he said, the only reason Biden was able to handle Trump in those debates, nobody else could handle him. Because, he said, in the Republican primaries, it was Jeb Bush, I want to focus on the economy and strength and blah, blah, blah. And then it was Paul Ryan or whomever, it's I want to focus on, education and this. And then Trump comes out and he's just Rand Paul is ugly. It's how do you debate that? You can't debate that. He's just calling people names and making up nicknames based on how people look. Biden was the only one who could kind of handle that because he just wasn't even processing in the moment what was being said. No. He was just moving on from line to line. So it'll be interesting to see how, because Trump for his age, they're pretty close in age. He still seems pretty with it. Mentally, he seems like he's still pretty spot on.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see.
This guy, he don't even have his eyes open.
No. Yeah, he's not doing great.
No.
True pressure.
No, you can tell just by his gait when he's walking.
Yeah.
He's not.
I showed you my Biden walk, right?
No.
I didn't show you my Biden. I showed you my Biden walk.
Yeah.
Didn't I? It's pretty good. My Biden walk's really good.
Yeah, he's got it down to a science.
Is it better than his?
It's funnier. His is sad.
The American worker, and we will make energy affordable again by saying drill, baby, drill.
And the challenge too is that voters tend to have looked at Trump's handling of the economy better than they did when he was in office. He's been benefiting. One poll had him up 64% approval on that issue.
Mike, are you paying attention to the comments?
Mm-hmm.
Chris,
certainly has.
take
People,
a half a
have
seat
short
to your
memories.
right.
But this economy issue is
A little bit
just
more.
persistent one from
Yeah, I'm on
Democrats
YouTube
for Democrats.
commenting
And it is
with
a
Mr.
messaging
Popko.
branding problem
Johnny Popko, what's up, buddy?
because the
Hey, buddy.
economic
Hey, Johnny
policies that
Popko.
Democrats champion are popular, and some of the Republican policies that economic policies that Republicans champion are not.
Right.
Yet, if you ask the average American, they still want to hand their pocketbook and their budgets over to Republicans to handle, and Democrats just have to figure that out.
You think?
We know Donald Trump
Yeah,
and his team are going
right.
to attack Biden on immigration. Here's what Trump said about it during his most recent rally.
We had the safest border in the history of our country. Now we have the unsafest border in the history of the world. How stupid is an open border? But
It's real stupid.
equally, and to be honest with you, much more importantly, open borders, because you have millions of people coming in, and they're coming from all of these places. They're causing tremendous death.
Kate, for all of the unpredictability people attribute to Donald Trump, this is coming if you're the Biden team. What are you telling the president if you're in that room?
go right back at him. You know, say
About what?
We had solutions on the table. You threw them aside. You said you'd rather have this as a political issue. I think there is a lot of
What
purchase
solutions?
for Biden
What
in that
solutions?
argument. I don't
Yeah, well,
think he should be.
Their
I feel
border
like he needs
bill.
to be back on his heels on this.
What
I
a
think
bunch
he can
of
certainly and
morons.
should talk about what he's done, the steps that he's taken over the last few months in particular. He can talk about the fact that on day one in the Oval Office, he put forth a comprehensive plan, sent it to Congress. That you know, he has consistently worked on this issue. But I think the big weakness for Trump on this issue is the fact that he scuttled the deal, that he essentially said, I want this as a political issue. People don't like that. The other thing I would say about this that I think is maybe a little counterintuitive, people like the tougher measures, no question, but they don't like a lot of Trump's rhetoric around this issue when he says that immigrants poison the blood of our country and, you know, they didn't like family separation. So there can also be some benefit, I think, for Biden in getting Trump going on this issue because Trump has a tendency to say things that really turn off those moderate voters who are.
I mean, they are invaders.
Yeah, they're not immigrants.
They're not. Yeah.
It's not the immigrants he's talking about poisoning the blood of our country. It's the invaders, these illegals that come in.
These
Especially
people
the
here,
ones that are killing people, that are just savages.
it's like every day. Every day there's a rape
It's
or a
terrible.
murder.
Yeah.
When it came to immigration, there was border security, but there's also.
I feel like this right now is we're watching. It's like we're watching the TV show in the insane asylum for information. Like it's being broadcast inside the insane asylum, and
Well,
were there like,
and it feels like
So
they're
we're like-
priming the audience for the debate. They're not just going to let the debate happen. It's like they're.
do you think like they're trying to plant in their
100%.
brains
They're
like what
planting,
to expect?
They're planting
Yeah.
an excuse for everything good that Trump says and everything bad that Biden says.
Yep. Well, that's because Biden can't defend himself, so they're going to do it for him.
Yeah.
What are these very different approaches to preparing for this critical CNN debate tell you about the candidates?
It tells me a lot just about who they are as people, how they approach moments like this, but it also tells me that their campaigns are setting
My silhouette looks like a watermelon with a grape on top.
that they think will succeed best for them. I mean, if Donald Trump is
bet
not
you
going
he
to
doesn't make
succeed
noise
at
when he farts.
doing a
You bet me what? What'd you say?
Nothing.
Say it again, man. Say it again. I'm gonna rewind the tape. What did you say?
Good.
Augustus Gloop's grandfather.
on the stage. And so the fact that they have totally different approaches, I probably would imagine, doesn't surprise
You know
many
what?
Americans. I think
What?
Let's just shit on these people. He looks like he's been stung by 1,000 wasps.
Their
Oh,
message.
God.
What is the same for them, Wolf, are the enormous high stakes in this debate. They both have a lot of opportunity here. But
Where do
also
they
great
find
risk
these
on the
people?
What do you want him? You want him backing you up in a gunfight?
I don't want him backing my car up.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Many of whom have been disengaged. Get them engaged and start making
The woman on the right, her
Think
head's
he ever
falling off.
actually fired a gun.
What is the secret to
Nope.
winning?
Who was that guy that was talking?
Guns are
I don't know.
dangerous.
They are dangerous.
They kill people.
That is obviously something
People
that is
kill
all on
people.
top of mind for President
She
Biden
sucks,
and for
too.
President Trump tonight. Is it a vibe? Is it a zinger?
Listen, there's none of that open mic talk.
I think when you make that decision, it might
Make-
be well if you would ask yourself.
All right, I'm for rape. I'm for
Are you
abortion
better
now.
off than you were 4 years ago? We need.
Why did they put the Joe
fundamental
Rogan
change
filter on
in this
Reagan?
country, and that's what I'd like to bring.
If I win, I am going to instruct my attorney general to get a special prosecutor to look into your situation.
It's just awfully good that someone
'Cause you'd be in
with
jail.
the temperament of
Oh,
Donald
baby.
Trump.
This
is
was the
not in
line when I knew he
charge
was
of
going to
the
win.
law in our
Awesome,
country.
wasn't it?
Because you'd be in jail.
That was the line.
Those three moments and many more are
Wow,
the kinds
that's
that my
awesome.
next
That's-
guest has
that's when I was
studied
like, oh,
and the
no.
voters' reactions to them for more than 3 decades. Longtime pollster and communications strategist Frank Lutz.
Oh,
joins
Frank
me now.
Lutz.
And Frank, I mean, you have written this really interesting
Is that his hair?
article today about
We'll
what
wait till
actually
we'll wait till the end to see if it flies away.
Was his grandfather the Unabomber?
It's not always what the pundits think is the biggest takeaway.
You know, it's very frustrating. You might want
He's a polling grifter. Like he's a
very
douche
careful
nozzle.
That's a
who you pick as the
horrific
winner,
toupee.
because voters see it very differently.
Is that a
They're
chin
not going to
strap?
score
That's-
points. They
No,
don't
that's a beard.
care
Huh?
if you
The beard holds his hair on.
something, and they're actually not focused precisely
Amazing.
on every detail. They're looking at the
amazing.
personality. They're looking at the presentation.
Yeah, Chris, don't you think that Just for Men should go to the chin?
Can I see them as this? Is this someone I want to have
Wow.
in my living room every night for the next 4 years.
I think he needs to go to your
And in the
place.
end, it's the reason why Donald
Well, needs
Trump
to stop in
lost
at
that debate
Lavish.
with
Fix
Joe
him up.
Biden
Now look at they have
4 years
CNN
ago,
coffee cups.
and
Why don't
why
we
he
have
beat
what a
Hillary
week
Clinton.
podcast?
Because we have no money, Mark.
Yeah. The hell.
Oh, by the way, we have a new sponsor, Payne's Garage.
And every network went nuts on him. Our focus group said, oh my
I'll
God,
buy you cups.
he's actually going to hold her accountable. This is exactly what we're looking for in politics. So he was a disaster in 2020, and he was really good in 2016.
This guy's
when you
ears
look
are
at those
huge.
two moments, I'm sure there were some voters who did not like that moment. This political opponent clearly saying he'd put his opponent in jail because he doesn't like her. But when you
They're trying to put this guy in
The irony
jail.
of it is they're criticizing him for saying that, and that's literally what they're trying to do to him.
Isn't it a little different though when you actually break the law?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
or undermine the political case that each wants to present to Americans. Viewers will quickly decide whether the accusations are
She looks like my drunk aunt trying to get laid in Miami.
By him? She shouldn't
By
have to try-
anybody.
she
She'll
shouldn't have
take
to try
whatever.
Too hard.
What does that look like?
Otherwise, it's only 4%. It's only in 3 states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And I'd be asking a rhetorical question,
if I can make
just
this
like
full
Reagan
screen.
did. Is inflation higher or lower
Oh, there
today
you
than
go.
it
No,
was
you
4
can't do
years
it.
ago? Is the border
What?
safer or less safe? Do you feel more or less secure if I'm Donald Trump? And if I'm Joe Biden, do you really want to go back to that chaos? Do you really want to go back to, and I'm going to do that for 3 or 4
what chaos? They caused all the chaos.
Yeah.
He didn't. Everything was great.
I didn't have any problems.
Nope.
Nope.
Especially when I went to fill up my car.
I hate affordable gas and food.
Yeah, well, that's you know,
Oh,
you got to carry all those bags.
It's just-
you know, it's terrible.
I didn't have to carry a gun. I know that much.
No. Well,
but you did.
Not as much. Every day I do now.
The situation,
Mhm.
the legislation that's passed.
Does that concern you guys? The crime? Do you think that because Biden is president, crime is going up?
100%. This is crime's out of control.
I don't know if it's necessarily because of Biden, but it's because of people who think like him at a more local level. I think that's more so the
Well,
issue.
doesn't the buck stop there? Or you think that the people who are like
I don't think Biden has
like acolytes to the D's,
other than the border and people who might be in the country illegally committing crime. I don't think that.
I mean, that's a pretty big
he-
thing. That's like besides like the strawberries that are laced with cyanide. You
Yeah,
know, I think
I think it's more so on the local level. The people who think his way towards crime, law enforcement, and the judicial system, I think has almost emboldened people to be like, I could do whatever I want. I mean, literally,
Well, 'cause-
there's laws in some major cities, in blue cities, where they will not prosecute crime if you only steal under like $950.
Sure.
That's
Right.
just insane.
Yeah.
It's an insane.
That's
rule
here
to
too,
have.
isn't it, Mark?
Yeah.
Because you're
I
now.
don't know if it's here.
It is here.
You're
I found the
incentivizing
I found the video footage during COVID.
Are you kidding me?
No, I
'Cause
have.
I really wanted a new
I have-
Blackstone, and they have one that's just under $900.
I have the-
I would have just stole the friggin' thing.
I have the video. I have the video footage that was on City Hall steps from the at the time chief saying that we will not prosecute anything under.
That's insane.
Was that just during COVID, or is that a permanent thing?
It was never relinquished.
Oh, good.
Well, it's just
I mean, stupid games win stupid prizes. So everybody calm down.
absolutely. So, yeah, if you steal under $900 from me, I take care of it. Don't worry about it, because that's just bullshit.
Yep.
Back to Frank Lutz.
And that's why our democracy is so challenged right now. We're not happy.
Democracy is challenged. That word again.
Right.
I think he's challenged
CNN's Jeff Zeleny.
Follically.
mentally.
Nice.
Have changed since they first took the stage.
3 minutes.
Did everything freeze or just
Joe
Jake
Biden
Tapper?
and Donald Trump is anything but a rerun. A vastly different set of issues are driving this race.
Oh, what's
and
happening?
Former president come face to face.
We're
for the
already
first
having
debate
issues.
Of the 2024
This debate
campaign.
actually
4
started
years
3.5
since they
minutes ago.
shared a stage.
Yeah, right.
Did it really?
No.
Oh no, it's on a 2-minute delay. I'm sorry, I thought it was 7.
47 months. I've done more than you've done in 47 years, Joe.
Feels like an upside down lifetime ago, back when the coronavirus pandemic was.
Masks are okay. You have to understand, if you look, I mean, I have a mask right here. I put a mask on, when I think I need it.
This is his economy that's being shut down.
In the
Mike, you're breathing
Biden-Trump
into the mic.
sequel, an entirely
What?
new fight
Mike,
has
you're
brewing
breathing
on
into the mic.
campaign trail.
Don't
Could end
breathe.
up in World War III with this person. He's the worst president.
and in TV ads.
This election is between a convicted criminal who's only out for
They've been waiting for that to say that.
Right? How many times do you think he's going to say felon?
Tonight?
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
You're a felon. You're a felon.
The world, and yes, they have changed. From an insurrection and all its fallout to a new fight on abortion rights. In the wake
Was
of the
anybody charged with insurrection?
Roe versus Wade,
Not one person.
the
Right?
invasion of Ukraine,
But they keep calling
and
it
a
an
war in the
insurrection.
Middle East,
Sounds a little bit like
the very
defamation
stark
to me.
Question of America's role in the world. Yet the economy, inflation, and immigration are still at the center of it all. Trump's
Yes.
record was at the heart of their last debate, even as he sought to deflect.
Oh, no, it's Pane breathing
Depression,
into
the
that.
likes of which you've never seen. Your 401ks will go to hell, and it'll be a very, very sad day for this country.
While those warnings didn't come to pass, Biden's record is now under the microscope, complicating
Now!
his effort to make it
His
a referendum.
record?
The fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
And America's oldest presidential candidates are even older. Trump 78, Biden 81, with age and fitness for office now a central issue in the race. Public opinion for presidents can be punishing. Biden's favor 2020, with nearly 6 in 10 Americans holding an unfavorable view. Perceptions of Trump have changed less, with more than half still seeing him in an unfavorable light. Televised debates have long been a storied part of presidential campaigns, with history-making moments for candidates.
There you go again.
Yet this shows the nation's 45th and 46th presidents, still seeking to define one another in the earliest general election debate in memory, an old duel being fought on new ground.
Oh, T-minus 1 minute, boys and girls.
So there's just nobody in there. It's the two of them, the podiums, and just an empty room.
Yes.
That's just dumb.
Well, because the thing is they don't want Trump to have the crowd because the crowd reacts to him. That's why they don't want a crowd there.
But why couldn't they just
like your
bring
wedding
in
night,
50-50?
Because it never works that way. It's always like friends and family. Do you remember the primary? Like one of the things I did during COVID when I was like, why do I hate Trump? Is I went back and looked at like the primary debates. And in one of them, he's like, look, all I got here is my wife and my son. All these other people have their lobbyists, their donors,
Mm-hmm.
All right, predictions. What's going to
I-
happen?
I don't think we make it to the end of the debate, and I think they're going to shut something off.
You really feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have a feeling Trump might just start going crazy, and they're going to shut him off, and he'll be like, you know what, then I'm out. Or Biden.
Well, he is debating three people, so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because Kennedy's doing a live during this too.
Yeah, it'll tell you everything you need to know based on the questions and how they act. So it'll tell you if they're loaded questions.
You want to watch this cheater, Jake Tapper?
In American history, we want to welcome our viewers in the United.
I would like to tell all of our viewers that at some point we might get pulled down, and if you want, make sure to comment on our feeds, and Micah will respond to them because he loves to respond to.
I love talking to all my friends.
Typed messages.
CNN Max, and CNN Espanol. This is a pivotal.
Latinx CNN.
President Donald Trump in their rematch for the nation's.
Is that little
Each will make
hitch in the
a
giddy
case
up?
to the American people
Is that
with
just
over
them?
That's them. That's not me.
Until Election Day. Good evening. I'm Dana Bash, anchor of CNN's Inside
Dana
Politics
Bash?
and co-anchor of State of the Union.
Yeah, ignore the last name.
Anchor of CNN's The Lead and
Tapper Bash.
Tapper Bash.
will co-moderate this evening.
Bash Tapper.
To facilitate a debate between the two candidates.
Sounds like a 12-year-old
Before
boy
we
came up with
introduce them, we
70s
want to
porn
share
star
the
names.
rules of the debate with the audience at home.
Yeah, where's that Max Steel guy that was
Will be
supposed
on
to
the
be here?
left side of the screen. President Biden will be
As long as he
appearing
keeps
on
drinking.
the right.
That son of a bitch.
Determined their position.
He's the worst.
Oh,
Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer a question. And
criminal.
1
This
minute
format is so unproductive.
an additional minute for follow-up clarification.
I think
or
what you
response.
said though. I think
Is
that
the moderators.
it's going to backfire on them with the
turning the microphones off?
Yeah, shut
Oh, it's gonna be
Trump's
amazing.
off, and nobody's
Yeah.
going to hear Trump. But Biden's going to hear Trump.
Oh yeah.
You know, and
So
he's
you're gonna
be
hear
like,
you're gonna
"You're
hear
an
him
asshole.
Yeah, you're
like,
gonna
he's
hear
just
him.
going to lose his mind.
All you're gonna do is hear him trying to respond to what he's saying.
I hope you're right with that. I was thinking about that after you said that. I thought, wow, that's pretty good.
Well, when they were showing the test, I was like, wait, the guy next to him could still hear him. The audience can't.
Yeah, there is no
all
audience.
All he's got to say is cocaine in the Oval Office. You know what I mean?
Now, please welcome the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Oh, he's not looking great.
Is he
already.
drugged up? Oh, he doesn't look good.
No, he doesn't look good already.
Uh-oh.
What do you think? A
Oh
cocaine
my God.
suppository?
Oh, good evening.
Nice to be here.
I think I'm dead.
Jesus.
And please welcome the 45th President of
Hope he
the
does a
United
cartwheel.
States, Donald Trump.
Oh no,
Oh,
he looks kind of slumpy there.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, what's up with that?
It's presidential.
Yeah. Presidential.
Look how close they are, Mark. You can hear him say cocaine.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy.
Yep.
President Biden, inflation has slowed, prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home
A lot
prices
more
have
than
gone
that.
up
How about almost
30%.
300?
What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President
He
Trump?
looks
You gotta
bad.
take a look at what I was left when I became president.
Oh my God, is that him?
Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. Pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, "It's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all
not
right."
what he
What
said.
the
He
hell?
never said that.
There were
You
no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible.
He's
And
struggling
so what we had to
already.
do is try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new
10
jobs.
days
Is he
off
reading
the-
off a
And we brought
teleprompter?
out
10 days off the grid,
position
and this
where
is what we
We
got.
have 800,000 in manufacturing jobs, but there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of house.
No,
Don't
you
mention
don't.
us.
Oh,
You
God.
don't. Stop
Things
with
weren't
that.
able to be met during the month. It was a problem. The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a
I
whole
never
range of
want to watch another debate
That's
without
Boy,
you
am I
guys.
glad I'm not
Make
from
sure
Scranton.
I deal with
Right?
those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed, is the reason why we're in this problem.
What
And
is
in
this?
addition
He's
to
got
that,
verbal
we're in a situation
diarrhea.
where if you take a look
He's
at all
trying
that
to
was done in
puke
this
out everything that they
That's
just
right.
jammed in him for the last
It's almost
10
like
days.
he got the questions beforehand and memorized the
Of
script.
course.
Yep.
It was literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We made
Literally
sure we had a
chaos.
situation
I
where
will say,
we
Trump's
now-
hair and skin is
we brought down the
significantly
price
less
of
orange.
prescription drugs. It's
He is
very
less
expensive
orange.
for
Yeah, he is.
people. To $15 for
Well, the lighting in the
insulin shot.
courtrooms
as opposed
don't
to
help his
$400.
skin tone.
No senior has to pay more than $200.
That's
for
good one.
any
Get him,
medical
Chris.
help
Get
that
him.
they can include
Well, it's not
any
his fault.
next year.
He'd normally be out in the
Situation
sun.
And we're going to make that available to everybody, all Americans. So we're working.
And he had to do all his
on price of
campaigning at night after the court was over.
Thank you, President Trump.
We have the greatest economy in the history of our country. And we have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID. And when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country.
There we go.
Other than we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal
I think I'm
immigrants
dead.
and bounce back jobs, a bounce back from the COVID.
There you
He
go.
has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely
I think
killing
somebody's
us.
they have a
Thank you,
thing in his
President Biden.
ear telling him what to
Well, look,
write
the
down.
greatest economy in the world.
Yeah,
He's
he's
the
got
only
to
one
have
that
an
thinks that,
earpiece
I
in.
think. I don't know anybody else who thinks he's the greatest economy in the world. And, the fact of the matter is that we find ourselves in a situation
Is that an
where
invisible penis?
his economy, he rewarded the wealthy.
Mark,
He had the
we
largest
call
tax
that
cut,
ghost dick.
$2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs since Herbert Hoover. The idea
was-
that he did
what?
something that was
You can't use
military,
businesses being closed down due to
when
COVID
he was
as your
president,
excuse
there
for
was
him losing
killing
jobs.
people.
That's
at all.
ridiculous.
He didn't do anything about that. when he was president, we were still finding ourselves in a position where you had a notion that we were this safe country. Truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world.
What?
Afghanistan?
President Trump, I want to follow up.
That's
if I
an
can.
insane
You
thing
wanna
to say.
Respond to him.
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to
Holy
follow up.
shit.
You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S.
This guy's 50 years
How
of
will
being
you
a
ensure
lying
that that
asshole.
doesn't
Yes, he
drive
is.
Prices even higher.
Not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cause countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in
China.
all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history.
at
I also
Biden.
gave you the largest regulation cut in history.
Man.
That's why we had all the jobs.
He's listening in
and
his.
the jobs went down, and then they
There's a
bounced
speaker in
back, and
his
he's
ear.
taking credit for bounce back jobs. You
absolutely.
can't
He looks
do that.
rough.
He also said he inherited 9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what
That
they're
sounds
doing.
like
It was
what's
the
going
worst
on in
government, the
Lackawanna
worst
County.
administration in
Yeah,
history.
pretty
There's
much.
think-
never been.
They think we
And as
print
far
it in the
as
basement.
Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most
And all our
embarrassing
equipment.
day in the history of the country's life.
President Trump, over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations, the national debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration
means
approved
something.
$8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before, and we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it. Something which
That's
a lot
true,
of
by the
people
way.
don't like to talk about.
More people
But we had
died.
far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country.
Look at his
They don't
face.
respect our
Do you think they
leadership.
have the
They don't respect the United
$3,500
States anymore.
timer like we
We're
do?
like a third world nation.
Did you guys actually get that?
That's
stupid
so it's in.
His
It's there.
election,
Yeah.
Trying to go after his political
I have
opponent.
one on my phone.
All
I
of the
found
things
it.
he's
I don't know how
Free,
to get
right?
back to it. Yeah, I don't know how to get back to it though, Mark.
Yeah, but this one's nicer. This was 3,500.
Love to ask him, and will, why he
It's all
allowed
right.
millions of people to come in here from prisons,
Got big red
jails,
numbers.
and mental
Big red
institutions
numbers.
Yeah.
to come into our country and
Little
destroy
Billy
our
needs
country.
big shit.
Chris,
President Trump,
I want you to look up on my wall. Do you see that clock? I'll put it in the wide shot.
Yes, I do.
That has a timer on it.
How much was
We
that?
had the largest
That was
national debt
$98.
for your
98. Well, that's expensive.
And it works.
That $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean,
We have a
there-
thousand trillionaires?
What's happening? We're in a situation. where-
Look it up. Look it up. There are zero trillionaires anywhere.
Google.
24%, 25%, either one of those numbers.
I am not going to let the villain from Poltergeist 2 tell me what to do.
He needs the
We'll
hat.
be able to wipe out his debt.
Come out, Carol Ann.
All those things we need to do. Child care.
You're all going to die in there.
Strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with
He's lost
dealing with
already.
everything
He's
we
gone.
have to do with,
Dude, it's brutal.
Dun, dun, dun.
Look,
He's freezing.
Oh,
Oh
He
my
vapor
God.
locked.
Medicare.
oh my
Oh
God.
God. He,
Biden, President Trump.
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security.
That's
He
true,
will
all the
wipe out
illegals.
Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people, they cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump. Tana?
yes, he's
This
right.
is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade.
Oh, here we
This
go.
morning,
No, brother. They
the
drag
court
this out
ruled
every
on yet
election.
another
Everyone.
abortion case,
Throw the dead babies
temporarily
at them.
allowing
That'll get them.
emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump.
We're talking about killing
take credit
babies.
for the
That's so
decision
insane.
To overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the
Also,
states.
he's not for overturning it.
The federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders.
Come on, man.
And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that.
Look at him looking at
Now
him.
the states
Looks
are
like he's
working
having
it
a
out.
stroke,
If you look at
doesn't he?
Ohio, it was a decision that was an end
He looks like
result
when
that
Mitch
was a little
McConnell
bit more
strokes out.
liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida
does
is
not
different.
look good.
But they're
Mm-mm.
all making
Not
their
at
own
all.
decisions right now. And right now,
How good would you
the
look if you
states
had a load of
control
shit
it.
in your
That's the
pants?
vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very
Absolutely.
important. Some
Absolutely.
people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this.
Glenn
He
Youngkin
said, we'll
said
put
that.
the baby
Yep.
aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby. What happened is we brought it back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they're all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor, have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states. Let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and
by an illegal.
The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in to
Not an
talk about
immigrant, an
that.
illegal.
Here's
Say
the
it.
deal. There's a lot of young women who are being raped by their by their in-laws.
He doesn't even know her
by their
name.
spouses,
Is his excuse for
brothers
abortion
and
that
sisters.
American women
By-
are being raped by
just-
people who
it's
come
just
across the
ridiculous.
border illegally,
And they
so
do
we should
nothing
have
about
it?
And they
It
try
sounds
to
like
arrest them when
that.
they cross
Yep.
state lines.
Thank you.
There have been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border.
There you
We have a
go.
border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. It's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote
Look
of
at
the
the face
people,
he's
which is
making
what
looking at him.
everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue.
He's
which,
a
frankly,
mess.
they didn't. But they would have.
It's pretty bad.
Everybody wanted brought back.
Pretty bad.
Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states, I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states
What?
have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy,
I know Alex Mulfettis. He looks nuts. It is a mess.
on how late a woman should be able to terminate a
Talking to
pregnancy.
Alex.
I
Oh, here we
support
go.
Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. First time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation.
What?
Third time is between the doctor
And God?
between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians
He
to
brought
be
the-
the ones making decisions about women's health
The
is
founders.
ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if
Uh-oh.
I'm elected,
Trump's
I'm going
gearing
to
up.
restore Roe v.
Yeah,
Wade.
he
Get
is.
ready.
So that means
He's
he
got them
can
pursed
take
lips.
the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
That's right.
That is simply not true.
He just said it.
What did he-
Not
did just
provide
say
for
it.
that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period.
Sure you are.
Period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do?
Is
What's
he
gonna
questioning
do
the
in
legal
fact that
system now?
If the
Yes.
MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and
The
the
MAGA
MAGA
Republicans.
control the
There you
Congress,
go.
and they
Yay.
If you're
pass
playing
a
the drinking
universal
game,
ban
now's your
on
chance.
abortion,
Vote.
period, across the board. At 6 weeks or 7
waiting
or 8
for the
or 10
command,
weeks,
man.
something very, very conservative.
I don't think he has
If
that in
he's
him
gonna
anymore.
sign that bill, I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of
Shut 'em
migrants
right up.
have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states
Yeah,
and
they're not going
overburdening
soft on
cities
Biden
such
so
as New
far.
York and Chicago, and in some cases
Because
causing
they
real
want him
safety
gone.
and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. Significantly, by the way, the Border Patrol endorsed me. Endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies
They all have their
from their
lights and
mothers, putting them in
danger.
cages, making sure they were.
That was
the
Obama
families
that
were
built those
separated.
cages.
That's
Yeah.
the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office.
40% less.
Continue to move until we get to
Maybe
total
this
ban.
morning.
It's like
on
10 times as
the-
many.
The total initiative relative to what we can do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of this. We have the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do is leave. All he had to do
That
is
was
leave.
awesome.
He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now, all terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere, all over the
Is
world.
the county doing anything to prepare for the terrorists coming across the border?
No, they all vote for Biden.
So that means, like, if they come here, there's no preparation for that.
I'm the only one. Why'd you ask me that after I put a mouthful of stuff in my mouth?
I really didn't think that went through when I asked you.
I won't say that. If they endorse me for
No,
president.
it's not. That's not a laughing
Brandon,
matter.
Just speak to him.
No, I
But-
know that, but I
You know?
didn't mean to hit you when you put food in your mouth. I didn't know you were doing that.
There's never been
No, it's
anything
getting
like
bad.
it.
You
And
saw what
people are
happened up on the
dying
Carmel Highway yesterday.
Yeah, I did.
How come that didn't make the news?
What
was that?
happened on a Carbondale Highway yesterday?
Mark will tell you.
What?
The people with the masks and the you didn't see that?
They were
You gotta talk into-
terrorizing.
You got to talk into the mic.
They were terrorizing people up by.
Up at the Walmart.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're
up at the Walmart.
illegals?
No one knows. No one knows.
Were they caught?
I don't believe so.
I don't know what happened.
I heard about it, but I
Nobody
didn't
said
know
a
what
word.
it was.
Nobody said a word.
Yeah, how come you didn't hear that on the news?
Weird, ain't it?
Topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists,
died like
biggest
a
terrorists
dog.
anywhere in the world. And it had a huge impact
They
on
went in there with
everything,
dogs,
not just
beautiful
border,
dogs.
on everything.
I
He's
said,
the one
"Don't
that
cry."
killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level
He's
that
right.
we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our
There you
citizens
go. First
at a
tagline.
level that we've never
If you're playing
seen
the drinking
before.
game,
And
that's
you're
the one.
reading it like these 3 incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and he just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's
absolutely
taken
horrible.
place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized
It's
country.
on you
now.
there, Joe.
He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't
on
know.
you.
He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have
He
to get them
looks
out
so
fast
bad.
because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places.
But they told me
Our
I
veterans
had
are
ice
on
Did you
the
notice
street.
them cut
They're
away
dying
from him when he
because
makes
doesn't care
weird
about our
faces?
veterans. He doesn't like.
He's
at
being
all.
blamed for the death
And
of
he doesn't
American
care about our
citizens.
veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating.
And
for
he has
veterans
nothing.
taking
He has
care
nothing
of
to
the
say
VA.
back.
There's
He
6
has
young
the worst.
ladies
He's
that are
gotten
dead
rid
because
of all
of
the
him.
things that I approved.
Yeah.
Choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they
And
abandoned.
there's 13
We had
American
by
soldiers
far the
that are
highest,
dead
and now
because
it's
of him.
down in less than half
With that
because he's
bullshit
done all
removed
these
from
great things that we did.
Afghanistan.
And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by
Thank you,
allowing
President Trump.
all of these people to come in. And
President
it's a very
Biden,
sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie.
No, I don't think
For
so.
example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1
Mention
million
Afghanistan.
of them
Really?
now have insurance and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And he opposed.
He's talking about
the group opposed that.
Vietnam.
We're also in a situation where
No,
we
they
have
did
great
that in
respect for
Afghanistan
veterans.
and Iraq.
My son spent a year in Iraq.
He also, did you see
Living
today?
right
He
next
just
door to the burn
pardoned.
pits, came back with
You
stage
can,
4
if you were
glioblastoma.
convicted of sodomy in the
in France
in the service,
was
and
D-Day.
that was
And
a
I
jailable
spoke all
offense.
about those heroes
Oh, I
that
did
died.
see that.
He
I
pardoned
went to
all
the
of
World
that.
War
So
II cemetery.
yeah, thank
World War
God
I
he's on top of
cemetery he refused to go
good
to.
topics.
He was standing with his 4-star general.
Everyone's peepees now smell bad.
I Because
guess.
they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser. Was
Oh,
not a
here we
sucker.
go.
Oh, baby.
President Trump.
First of all, that was a made-up and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have.
Huh?
To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter.
If you're playing the drinking game, oh, yeah.
He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
Four-star general standing to your side was on your staff who said you said it, period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything.
Why is his voice not following with
We've
the
done
picture?
more for veterans than any
much of a
president has
delay?
in American history. And they
YouTube.
now are in their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country
We're
is to
watching
care
this
for our
through-
veterans
yeah,
when they come home and their families and when they go to war. That's what we're doing. That's what the VA is doing now. They're doing more for veterans than ever before in our history.
I feel like I'm watching SpongeBob when the painting and the lips are moving and the painting. That's what it looks
I want
like.
to begin with Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its third year. Former President Trump, Russian President Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed
Not going to happen.
and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's
That should
terms
happen.
acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. I think he's the worst
True statement.
commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information.
Did he
As
wink
far
or
as
just-
Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, the president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. What happened? He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of
Michael, we did a
equipment
podcast
behind.
right after
we
that with
lost
Andy.
13
Yeah.
beautiful soldiers, and 30 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind too. We left American citizens behind.
That's
when Putin
true.
saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything, no money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
It's true.
President Biden?
Never heard so much malarkey in my whole life.
Malarkey is on the bingo card. It is time to take a drink.
Attack American troops, cause brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president. They attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place.
I think
number
that
one.
cocaine
Number
suppository
two,
is starting to kick
we
in
got
a little
over
bit.
100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want, and do whatever you want, and that's exactly what
What is he
Trump
talking
did
about?
to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. And listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to
That's
get
not
it
what he
done.
wants to
and
do.
They've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
Trump,
I
if
never
come back
said
to you
that.
for 1 minute, I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the
No, they're
territory
not
in Ukraine.
acceptable. No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being
statement.
killed so needlessly, so
Ballsy.
stupidly, and I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast. Take office.
It is now.
You have a minute.
I think he could do it.
The fact
He could
is
do it.
that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people.
So's Biden.
And he has
Yeah.
made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants.
He has never
And now,
said
do you
that
think he'll
ever.
Stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to the? And so, if you want a war,
He tells them to get the NATO weapons out.
because if in fact he does what he says and walks away, by the way, all that money we give Ukraine are from weapons we make here in the United States. We give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as much funding for Ukraine.
Why are we paying ourselves to make things to give them away?
Thank you. Moving
Does that make
to the
sense?
Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages.
This will be interesting to see
Among
how
those
Biden
held
handles
and
this
thought
one.
to still be alive are 5 Americans. Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in
There's
Gaza.
still Americans there.
President Biden,
Captive.
you've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one, everyone from the United Nations Security Council straight through to the G7 to the Israelis and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward, which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade the hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas. Number one, they're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime, what's happened in Israel? We're finding that the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them. And by the way, I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it just stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. And so they're 2 different things. Hamas cannot be allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts and our intelligence people as to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. You don't have to do it. And by the way, they've been weakened, Hamas, greatly weakened, and they should be.
No
they
joke.
should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for using certain weapons among population centers.
Please.
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent 100 billion or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up
Look at
$100
the look on his
billion.
face.
The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever. They wouldn't have any. They were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's getting all. You got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them, as far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one that wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one that let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute.
Somebody said that
heard
4
so
years
much
ago
foolishness.
that he was weak.
This is a guy who wants to get out of NATO. You're going to stay in NATO? You're going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have our strength lies in our alliances as well. It may be a big ocean, but we're ever able to avoid a war in Europe, a major war in Europe? What happens if, in fact, you have Putin continue to go into NATO? We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine and then move on to Poland and other places. See what happens then. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world
Pane.
to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war
Japan and
has
South
ever been
Korea.
contagious
All right.
to Europe.
Hey, we're getting
President
the band
Trump,
back
just to
together.
follow up,
Yeah.
would you support the
Germany
creation
in
of
there.
an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States. And they were no cars, they don't want anything that we have, but we're supposed to take their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia at a very secret meeting of the states at that time, nations at that time.
He did
and they
the
said,
day
no,
one,
if you
remember?
don't pay,
Mhm.
I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's
you.
bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2021.
Oh,
and
here we
the
go.
Knew that was
rallies
coming,
that
right?
day. Some of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated count of votes.
That's not
As
why.
president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and
How
worry
he
that you'll
answers
do
this
it
is
again?
big.
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. That what
Like a
happened to
bunch
the
of stupid
United
people.
States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about,
He's avoiding
where he
the
goes
question
after his
on that.
political opponent because he
that's
can't
not
beat
good.
him fair
No.
and square.
You have to face it head on.
You have
Yep.
80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say,
Filmmaker.
but she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this. Because I offered
That's
her
true.
10,000
That is
soldiers
true.
or
I saw
National
that.
Guard, and she turned them down. In writing, by the way, the mayor, in writing, turned it down, the mayor of D.C. They turned it down.
So why
I
didn't he
offered
just say
10,000
this when
because
he was asked
I
that?
could see. I had virtually nothing
made
to
him
do.
look
They asked me to
stupid.
go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her. And she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day.
was set up.
I don't know. She can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility for January 6th.
President Biden?
Look,
Nothing
he
he said was true.
encouraged those folks to go up on Capitol Hill, number one.
Oh, he's fading.
I sat in the dining room off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours watching, begging, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side to do something.
The vice
Call
president
for a
was
stop
on
to
the
end
Hill.
it.
He wasn't
Instead,
in the Hill.
he talked about these
I know.
being patriots and great patrons of America. In fact, he says he'll now forgive them for what they've done. They've been convicted. He says he wants to commute their sentences and say that no. He went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court. And they said, no, this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He did do a damn thing. And these should be in jail. And they should be the ones who are being held accountable. And he wants to let them all out. And now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that it could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When they ripped down Portland, when they
Killed Ashley Babbitt.
many other cities, you go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that, they saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing, the Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now, out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man.
It's time for the bingo game.
That's the margarita
But
drink,
he's
right?
telling you simply not true. Fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in
Uh-oh.
Buffering.
Need better Wi-Fi.
Uh-oh.
Is that
And
the cable
all
or
those
him?
people, every one of those who were convicted.
I think
is
it's
turned
the
over
I
desks,
think it's the YouTube stream.
turned them over statues. The idea
It's probably
that
getting
those people are
overloaded with
patriots?
views right now.
Come on.
Come on,
And I
man.
asked
Come on,
him
man.
about
That's
the
another
debates
drink.
we
Come on,
had, the
man.
debates
Come on,
we had
man.
first time around. I said, will you denounce the Proud Boy? He said, no, I'll tell them to stand by. The idea he's refusing to, will you denounce these guys? We denounce the people we're talking about now? We denounce the people who attacked that Capitol?
Oh, God.
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month,
Here
you
we
said
go.
if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high
We knew
level.
that
His
was
son
gonna
is
come up.
convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his justice of the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death caused at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo. That we're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor having to do with the son.
He did
This
that.
man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky. You're lucky. Wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President
look at
Trump.
the
President
face.
Biden, you have said, I'm coming right to you, sir. You
Hello,
wanna respond? Go
we're
ahead.
coming
I'll
to
give a
you.
minute to respond.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's
He
ever
said
spoken
the
like that
retribution will
before.
be our
No
success.
president in
Right.
our history. has
That's
spoken
what I
like that
heard.
before.
Yeah.
Number 3, the crimes that you
Well,
are
this is the
still
answer that
charged
they
with.
told
Think
them
of
to
all the civil
memorize.
penalties you have. How many billions of dollars for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having
E.G.
sex with a
Carroll,
porn
she's a
star
psycho.
on the night
What did he just
while
say?
your wife
Molesting a
was
woman
pregnant.
in public.
What are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
I
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number 1. Number 2, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a
You think he's going to
high-ranking
mention
official
showering
at
with his
DOJ
daughter?
into the Manhattan
I
DA's
hope
office
so.
to start
That
that
would be
case.
funny shit.
Oh,
That
that'd be
case is
good.
going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. His political opponent, because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up, way up. You know that because you're reporting it. And we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history of any
He's listening
campaign.
to
I don't think
somebody
any
else.
campaign has
He's not
ever
listening
taken
to him.
hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because
I'm
the
telling you,
public
he's got
knows
an
it's a
earpiece.
He
scam.
definitely.
and it's a
Well, you
guy
can't.
that's after his
Yeah,
political
yeah.
Something in
opponent 'cause
there.
he can't
Yeah,
win
well,
fair and square.
Probably
Thank
the
you,
only
President
thing
Trump.
in there.
President Biden, you have said, quote, Donald Trump and his MAGA Republicans, American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes. The more they know about what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming around. He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that, could you ever think you hear any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? Do you ever hear any president say that I thought Hitler had some good ideas? What got me involved?
Did
to
he
run
say
the first
Hitler
place
had some
after
good
the Senate
ideas?
Iraq, because of Iraq.
Well, we do
I
have
said
the
I wouldn't run
Volkswagen
again
because of Hitler.
until I
That's
saw
right.
what
Yeah,
happened in
yeah, the
Charlottesville,
People's Guard.
Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas on torches, and singing
What?
the same
That
anti-Semitic
didn't-
When was
choir
that?
they sang
Charlottesville.
when-
That
back
didn't
in
happen,
Germany.
did it?
That didn't happen.
I know.
The young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother.
Snopes just came out and said that didn't happen.
What do you
know.
think of those people? The people who, the ones who got
They were
killed,
coming
the
out
one
of
who
the
tried to
woods with
stop it, and the
swastikas.
ones he said, I think they're fine people on both sides.
Oh.
What
Oh my
American
God, this
president
was
ever
debunked.
said?
Yeah.
Nazis coming out of fields carrying
Well,
torches, singing,
Nazis.
In his
singing
defense,
anti-Semitic
it was
choir,
it
carrying
was debunked in the last like 6 days.
Fine
He's been in lockup for
This
what,
is the guy
10?
who says Hitler's done to know what they are. The good things Hitler's done, that's what he said. This guy has no sense of American democracy.
Mm-hmm.
President Trump.
Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it said
Look at his face.
100% exoneration on that. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency, he's without question, the worst presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's debunked all over the place. Every
Scooby?
anchor every reasonable
Did
anchor
I?
has
Somebody's telling him what
debunked
to
it.
say.
And just the other day,
Yep.
it came out where it was fully debunked. It's a nonsense
looking off to the
story.
side
He
for
knows
somebody
that,
to give him
and he
something.
didn't
Yeah,
run
somebody's
because of
telling him
Charlottesville.
something.
He used that as an
He keeps
excuse
looking
to
over
run.
to the left.
He's looking for ice cream.
Debunked. It happened. All you at the time.
How come his mic wasn't
And the
off?
idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches.
That's just completely made up.
Forest. It was in town.
We are here for the racisms. Nobody came out of the woods carrying
Flaming
swastikas.
swastikas.
Oh my
There are no
God.
racisms here today, Stool. Oh, okay, put the fires
I hope
out.
the
Put
camera's
the
on
fires
you
out.
as you're saying
Oh yeah.
this.
We're top
You
cabinet
do that
officers
voice
and
really
chiefs and
good.
persons.
It's scary.
I
how
love
good
to
it
watch
is.
Indiana Jones movies.
Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Be right back with more from the CNN.
No, this is the
presidential
commercial.
debate.
One of two.
How long is the commercial?
I think it's like 2 minutes or
Good.
something.
I'm going for a smoke.
So we've been at this for 2 hours. This is wild. Should we go for a commercial break ourselves?
Watch your feet. I wonder what I could put on for a commercial break.
Don't you have some funny videos
Some
that you made?
music you had playing
Oh no,
earlier.
we'll do the conspiracy. I don't want to put on a loop. All right,
It's for your listening pleasure.
All right, we'll turn the volume down. We'll be right back, folks.
Dreams we swallow. Freedom fading. Chains we're wearing. People marching. No more caring. We are the land of control. How takes the toll. Fight for us all. Lost in the glow. Whispers louder. War drums beating. Fear growing. Hearts breathing. Whispers louder. War drums beating. Fear calling. Hearts retreating. Rise us and don't break the wall. Hear our call. United we fall. We are the land of control. How takes the toll. Fight for us all. Lost in the glow. Whispers louder. War drums beating. Fear growing. Hearts breathing.
The song you're listening to now is a I-produced song called Land of Control. Oh, and we're back.
Chris, you want to shut that door? Not all the way. Just there's something making noise out there.
You know, since we were like
First term,
outside of them,
and you'd certainly face again
It's
in
cold.
the second term.
It's nice.
President
It's not bad,
Biden, while Black unemployment dropped,
My wife would like this. My bedroom's
Black
like
families
13
still
degrees.
earn far less than white families.
warm it up with
Black
friction, if you
mothers
know what
are
I mean,
still
Mark.
3
We're
times
back.
more likely
We're back.
to die
We're back.
of pregnancy-related causes, and Black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you say to Black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small Black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number two,
Like tiny
the
people,
wages
like
of
real
Black,
tiny.
Black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we're trying to provide housing for Black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporations that collude.
What?
In addition to that,
They didn't
we
freeze.
find
That was just him.
The impact on the choice that black families have to make relative to childcare is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce black childcare costs. I cut them in half. We got to make sure we provide for childcare costs. We got to make sure, because when you provide those childcare protections, you increase economic growth because more people can be in the job market. So there's more to be done, considerably more to be done. But
What happened?
I don't know.
At least we have the captions. Oh, the volume. You hit mute.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
for example, I provided for the idea that any black family first-time home buyer should get a $10,000 tax credit to be able to
Hey,
buy.
man, fuck off. It looked like he was frozen anyways. No one knew I screwed up for a bit.
Well, it's hard to tell.
Individuals who provided had to take out student loans that were ballooning. That if they were engaged in
Wish you said
nursing,
baloney.
and anything having to do with volunteerism, if they paid their bills for 10 years.
Look at Trump's face
and
trying to
student
understand
debt,
what he's saying.
All the rest is forgiven after 10 years. Millions have benefited from that. And we're going to do a whole lot more.
Mark, you make
for
that
black
face now.
families.
Thank you, President Trump.
And he caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody.
It's killing everyone.
People. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New Scam and all of the other, all this
Green
money
New
that's been
Scam.
thrown
I love that.
He caused
That's awesome.
inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. And it could be 18, it could be 19, and
That's
even
the
20
biggest
million
complaint
people.
by
They're taking black jobs and they're taking
people
Hispanic
in
jobs.
like
And you haven't
city
seen it yet,
environments
but
is
you're
the
gonna see
illegal
something
immigrants,
that's
and now
gonna
they
be
don't have the
the
resources
worst
that
in
they
our
need.
history.
Right.
Thank
Oh,
you,
yeah.
President
That's the
Biden.
number one issue within
Even the
like
homeless people that we
inflation.
have here, they're
Yeah.
all bitching
When I
that
became
the
president, you know why?
illegals are taking
Flat
all
on its
their
back.
stuff.
50% unemployment. He decimated the economy. Absolutely decimated the economy.
Okay.
That's why there's no inflation.
Because all the businesses were
time.
shut down from
There were no
COVID.
jobs.
This is stupid.
Provided thousands of millions of jobs for individuals who are in all communities, including minority communities. We made sure that they have health insurance. We have increased. I made sure that they're $8,000 per person in the
How
family.
much did your health
get
insurance
written
go up?
off in healthcare.
Like
This guy
triple.
wants to eliminate
Yeah,
it.
right.
He tried
Yeah.
50
Like as a
times.
small
He
business
wants
owner,
to
we're
get rid
kind
of
of
the
screwed when it
ACA
comes to
again.
that.
Oh my
And they're gonna
God.
try
Yeah, it's
again if they
bad.
win. We find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing it, we put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We
After
provide
We're
defund-
almost
for-
40
Wait.
cops short
Put
in
in.
Scranton.
Wait, he wants to cut the cops?
Yeah,
There's a
that's
lot
what you just
going
said.
on.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah.
He caused it by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled
What?
the pandemic.
Thank you. Another
Malfeasance.
persistent challenge
Did he say
is the climate
physics?
crisis.
No, he said malfeasance, sir.
Year in recorded history,
Suffering
and
succotash.
communities across the
Jesus
country are
Christ.
confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat,
No,
intensifying
malfeasance.
wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you've vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives. but
Climate change, as they say it, is not real.
as
The
president
the
to slow
world
the
has been
climate
warming
crisis.
since
Let me
the
just go
Ice
back to
Age.
what he
To
said about
curse
Yes, sir.
number 3,
police. How
bullshit.
close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. And what he's done to the
Huh?
black
They are?
population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget
Mouth
that.
breather. Look
Super
at him.
predators was his name.
He is a
And he
mouth
called it
breather.
to them for 10, and they've taken great offense at it. And now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform and for the historically black colleges and universities, where I funded them and got them all funded, and the opportunity zones with Tim, as you know, Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job. Great senator from South Carolina.
I like him.
Great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country, opportunity zones. And the biggest beneficiary are blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever, the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people. He's also done a horrible job for Hispanics. But wait till you see these millions of people pouring into our
did say
country,
if
and they're
you
going to
vote
take the
for him,
jobs.
you're not
And
black,
it's already
right?
started, and you haven't.
No, he said.
I heard it.
If you don't,
38
if you
seconds
vote
left.
for
President
Donald Trump and
will
not
you
me,
take
you
any
ain't black.
action as president
And then he
to
had
slow
his
the climate crisis?
commercial
So I
of him
want
sitting having dinner with
absolutely
the black
immaculate
family
clean
eating
water,
fried chicken.
and I
He
want
had- he had a
absolutely
cheeseburger.
clean air.
Yeah,
and we
he was
had
eating
it.
a cheeseburger.
We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever, and we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
I don't know where the hell he's been. The idea that anything he said is true. I passed the most extensive
not true,
climate change
Jack.
legislation in history. In history, we find ourselves, and by the way, black colleges. I came up with $15 billion for HBCUs, historic black universities and colleges, because they don't have those. They don't have the kind of.
Why didn't they do that during
contributors
Obama?
that they have
When he was VP.
build these. Is capable in college of doing any white student can do. They just don't have the money, but now they'll be able to get those jobs in high tech. We're in a situation where the idea that he is claiming to have done something that had the cleanest water, he hadn't done a damn thing for the environment. He pulled out of the Paris Peace Accord, Climate Accord. I immediately joined it because if we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius at any one point, there's no way back. The only existential
This is
threat to
all
humanity
bullshit, the
is
next
climate
stuff.
change, and he didn't do a damn thing about it. He must undo all that I've done.
The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing.
They're the biggest polluters.
And I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones who was costing us money. Nobody else was paying into it. And it was a disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin.
was a disaster.
I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I took care of the seniors. What he's doing is destroying all of our medical programs because the migrants coming in, they want everybody. And look, I have the biggest. And
Why
I
does
want to
this
take
keep
care
freezing?
of people. But we're destroying our
YouTube,
country.
man.
They're taking over our schools,
Well,
our
YouTube
hospitals,
sucks.
and they're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security, Medicare, and
He's right.
Medicaid.
Yep.
The idea is that
Why would they turn
we,
his
in
microphone
fact,
on?
We were the only ones of consequence who were not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able to? The United States can't get its under control. One of the largest polluters in the world.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
making
China
significant
is.
progress.
India.
We'll have-
Everybody
Yes, we
else
have.
is.
We've made significant progress, and we're continuing to make progress. We set up a
I
climate
think his
corps
polygrip
for
is loosening
thousands
up.
of
He
young
keeps
people to learn
pushing
how
his
to
teeth
deal
up.
with
Did you
them,
notice
just like
that?
the Peace Corps. And we're
Biden does?
moving
Yeah.
in directions that are going to significantly change the elements of cause of pollution. But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and he's really concerned about pollution and about climate, I've not seen any indication of that. And by the way, with regard to prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one voluntarily. I made sure the pharmaceutical company cannot have to pay.
Thank you.
And by the way,
Shut up, Biden.
So every day, millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For
I'm not
many,
gonna lie, I
older
kind of love this
Americans,
shutting up the
Social
microphone
Security
thing.
provides a
It's
critical
moving it along.
lifeline. President Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security, seniors will see their benefits cut in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social Security
It will not be
solvent?
successful.
yes, make the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share.
Won't
Right
cure
now,
Oh, the fair share
everybody
thing
making
again.
under $170,000.
The wealthy has to pay their fair
6%
share.
of their
I'm not even
income,
wealthy, and
of their
that sucks.
paycheck every single time they get a paycheck from the time the first one they get when they're 18 years old. The idea that they're going to
The first paycheck at 18
everybody
years
they
old.
pay the millionaires pay 1%, 1%.
That's just not
So
true.
no one I would not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, I began to make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share by increasing from 1% beyond to be able to.
Nobody
guarantee the
pays
program for
1%
life.
tax.
So you still have 82 seconds left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help keep Social Security solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent. But the biggest thing I'll do if we defeat this man, because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to
Always
cut
say
Social
that.
Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare both times. And and if you look at the program put forward by the House Republican caucus that I believe supports, well, the idea that we don't need to protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way, the American public has greater health care coverage today than ever before. And on the ACA, as I said,
they don't.
You're in a circumstance where 400,000 people, 40 million people would not have insurance because they have a pre-existing condition. Only thing that allows them to have that insurance is the fact that they, in fact, are part of the ACA. And by the way, the other thing is we're in a situation where I talk about education for Black communities. I've raised the amount of money for Pell Grants by another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000 a year, $1,000 toward their tuition. He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He can look you in the face. About so many other things too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine, everything. And disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. It's a disgrace. But Social Security, he's destroying it because millions of people are pouring into our country and they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid. They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
And it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
I have,
President Biden?
I have
The
neighbors
idea
that
that
moved in
veterans are not
that
being
were,
taken care of. I told you before.
They're here
By the
2
way,
years.
when I
They're on
said
Social
Suckman Delivery,
Security.
he said,
2
"You know,
years.
it's after he
They're living in the
fired
United States. 2 years. They're on Social Security.
Nice.
because he's
Like-
the one.
Nice.
That's what he said. He was the one standing with Trump.
I got that on camera, Micah.
Number one. Number two, the idea that we're
Don't
going to be in
waste
a
the ice.
situation where all these millions and millions, the way he talks about it, illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world. The reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing better than any other nation in the world. And by the way, those 15 Nobel laureates he talked about being phony, those 15 Nobel laureates, economists, they all said that
Look who's
if Trump
smiling.
is reelected, we're likely to have a recession and inflation is going to increase and go up.
Fear, fear,
By the
fear.
way, worst president in history, 150. The worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the
Joe
cost of
Biden.
child care, which many American families struggle to afford. President Trump, both you and
We didn't have
President
child care on
Biden
there, did we?
have tried to
No.
address this issue. But
I
the
don't think
average
so.
cost of child care in this country has risen to more than $11,000 a year per child for many
That's why they want to
families.
kill all the
The
babies.
cost of child care for 2 children is more
Wow,
than their
yeah.
rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
And
that's
going
the one.
to hell.
The general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is, he doesn't.
Millie said it, right? Is that what they're saying? Is Millie said it?
Never seen him
Oh,
fire anybody.
God.
I did fire a lot.
Millie-
I fired Comey because he
Millie
was no
sits down
good.
to
I fired
pee.
a lot of the top people at the FBI, drained the swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You'd pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these people. I didn't put them there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody.
Dude, tomorrow on the internet, just
He
the
should have fired
reactions of
every
Biden are
military
going to
man
be
that was involved with
amazing.
that
The memes are going to be amazing.
They're going to be
Mhm.
amazing.
horror show, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get many from prisons, many from mental institutions.
He's
Did you
right.
fire anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed?
They're not sending their best.
Joe, our country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just said about me because I said it. But look, he's the worst president in the history of our
Absolutely.
country. He's destroyed our country. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get a little tough on the border.
Just
He
for the record,
came out
he's
with
not really from
a
Scranton.
nothing deal, and it reduced it a little
When
bit.
this is over, can
a
you
little
explain
bit,
that quick?
Like
I will. I absolutely will.
Thank you.
borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters. And I don't think we just can't let it happen. If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is.
I agree.
He's the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We're the most admired country in the world.
Not
We're the
anymore.
We
United
were.
States of America.
We
There's
were.
nothing beyond our capacity. We have the finest military in the history of the world.
We did.
The finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one wants to screw around with us. Nobody.
Didn't we just
Number
talk
one.
about being weak?
Number two, the idea that we're talking about worst presidents. I wasn't joking. Look it up or go online.
Not joking. Look it up.
Don't hold me the exact number.
CNN will tell
Presidential
you.
Historians, they've had meetings and they voted who's the worst president. in
Historians
American
had
history.
meetings and
One from
voted.
best to worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history.
Our
That's
favorite
a
book
fact.
this month is.
That's not conjecture. He can argue
Conjecture.
they're wrong, but that's what they voted. The idea that he is doing anything to deal with child care, he did virtually nothing to child care. We should significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase the availability of women and men or single parents to be able to go back to work. And we should encourage businesses to have.
Thank you, President
child care
Biden.
facilities.
President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make childcare more.
Understand? We have polling. We have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me. I'll show you. I will show you. And they rate me one of the best. Okay. And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know who wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes. Tax cuts to expire. So everybody, including the two of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life, I'd grow up and I'd see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
President Biden?
Look, fact of the matter is that he's dead wrong about, he's increased
What's the top of his head look like?
taxes on middle class people. I said I never
Liver
raised the tax
spots.
on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't. But this tariff is 10%.
He looks like Montgomery
tariffs.
Burns.
Everything coming in the country. You know what the economists say?
Yes.
That's going to cost the average American
Yes.
$2,500 a
Smithers.
year more because they're going to have to pay the difference in food and all the things that we're importing. Number two, he's in a situation where he talks about how he has not raised. He somehow helped the middle class. Middle class have been devastated by you. Now you want a
Yeah,
new
I don't
tax
think-
cut of $5 trillion
no,
over
I
the
don't
next
think
10
so.
years.
No, we're worse off now.
Fundamentally
Yep.
bankrupt
Yep.
the country. You had the largest deficit of any president in American history. Number one. Number two, you have not, in fact, any progress with China. We are the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
laughing.
Thank you,
We're at the
President
highest.
Biden.
You lost
Thank you, President Biden.
Turn off his
Let's
mic.
discuss an epidemic impacting
Shut
millions
up,
of
Joe.
Americans that both of
Opioids?
you have made a top
Opioids?
priority in your first term. The
70,000
opioid
people this year.
crisis. And for both of you, the number of overdose deaths in this country has gone up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts that both of you have made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you
Vietnams
do to help Americans
per year.
right now
Right.
in the throes of addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
To finish up, we now have the largest deficit in the history of our country. China, he gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China. We have, so I think You notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries, and there was more to come, but he hasn't done that. But he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country, and he's got the worst.
CNN
You
sucks.
keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are
CNN or
killing
YouTube,
us
that
as a
sucker?
country, Joe.
Pick one.
And you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction
Seal
right
up
now
the
who are
border,
struggling
first
to get
things.
the treatment they need?
Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along. We had nobody's ever had before, any country, in every way. And then we had to get tough. And it was the drugs pouring across the border it started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog. That's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it.
Certain
We
dog.
did a lot. And
Yeah.
we were getting very low numbers, very, very low numbers.
You were doing
Then
so
he
good.
kept-
Just don't bring up the dogs.
What dog?
It's not only the
Beautiful
18 million
dogs.
people that I believe is even low because the gotaways, they don't even talk about gotaways.
He cried
But the numbers
He was
of
crying.
the amount of drugs and human trafficking in women coming across our border, the worst thing I've ever seen at numbers that nobody's ever seen under him because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming across our border now is the largest we've ever had by far.
They found a young girl at the border that had the DNA of 58 people in her.
Jesus, Marky, what part of the internet are you on?
The part that tells the truth.
Big machines that roll over and it comes across the border. And it costs a lot of money. That was part of this deal we put together, this bipartisan deal. More fentanyl
What happened?
machines.
What happened?
More be able to detect drugs. More
Check the
more
tape.
numbers of agents, more numbers of all the people at the border. And when we had that deal done, he called his Republican colleagues, said, "Don't do it. It's going to hurt me."
Again with that.
Isn't it fun when
Really
they
good,
lie when you know it's
We
not
need
when I know
those
it's not true?
machines. We need those machines. And we're coming down very hard in every country in Asia in terms of precursors for fentanyl.
I'm
And
impressed
Mexico
that
is
Joe
working with
actually
us to
stood
make
up for
sure
an hour
we
and a
don't have
half
the
in this.
technology to be able to
We
put
took
it
a break
together.
when we took a break.
That's what we have to do. We need those machines.
Thank you, President Biden. President
And
Trump,
Mike is doing
again, the
talk to
question is
text.
about Americans in the throes of addiction right now, struggling to get the treatment they need.
Well, this does pertain it.
Okay, that's funny. That's funny. Mark, you could.
He ended catch
You
and
could have
release.
said
I
that.
made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here.
He wouldn't fucking tell me, but he would he would tell his phone that the microphone could hear to send it to me.
I was very careful about how I did that.
Now
You know,
listen,
we have
I'm
a
missing the
hostage,
best
a Wall
part
Street
here.
Journal reporter. I think a good guy.
You want me to rewind?
He's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars.
Freeze.
Very quickly, as soon as I take office,
Joe,
before
wait.
I take office, I said, by literally, as soon as I win the election, I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a
Yep,
long time
he
ago.
will.
But Putin's probably asking for billions and
What
billions
report
of
is this?
dollars because this guy pays it every time.
The
We had
reporter
two
that's
cases. We paid $6
in
billion
prison
for
over there.
5 people.
Oh, okay.
I got 58 people out, and I paid essentially nothing.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
Let's turn to concern. President Biden, you would be 86 at the end
Wow.
of your second term.
If you live that
How do you
long.
address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
I'm all good, man.
Well,
I'm
first
good.
of all, I spent half my career being criticized being the youngest person in politics.
Yeah.
I was the second youngest person.
I'm experienced
ever
because
elected
of
to
the
United States
opposite
Senate.
reason.
And now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. I think that just look at the record. Look at what I've done. Look how I've turned around the horrible
Every time it freezes, it's amazing.
jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs, more investment in America, over billions of dollars in private investment in
Millions,
in enterprises.
billions.
We are
A
growing.
million billion.
By the way, we brought off a lot of people.
Dr. Evil.
The whole idea of computer chips. We used to have 40% of the market. We invented those chips. And we lost.
And now Nancy Pelosi
because
has
he was
invested in them
sending
and made millions.
to find the cheapest jobs overseas.
I've started following her stock investments, and it's made me quite a bit of money.
I just showed my dad.
And Samsung to invest billions of dollars here in the United States.
He called me the other day. He goes, "What was that thing you were telling me about?"
NVIDIA.
To build these chips.
I also got to invest in Buzzsprout because Vivek Ramaswamy bought into it.
Degree for them. And there's billions, about $40 billion.
Or no, BuzzFeed. That's what it is.
Built right now in the United States, creating significant jobs for Americans from all over the world.
President Biden, you have 40 seconds left. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would. The idea that somehow
I didn't take a shower with my
we
daughter,
are-
but I did.
talk like this.
I like the way my leg hairs look in the swimming
We're
pool.
the envy of the world. Name me a
They
single
flow.
major
They flow.
country president who wouldn't trade places with the
we're
United
learning
States of
about
America.
cockroaches?
For all our problems and all our opportunities.
He's the worst.
We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done.
Yeah, this
We're the
progress is
strongest
really
country in the
showing.
world. We're a country in the world who keeps our word, and everybody trusts us.
Is he doing a
All of
closing
our
argument with
allies
his time left?
And our those who he coddles up to, from Kim Jong Un, he sends love letters to, and Putin, etc.
Oh,
they don't want to spend.
This is amazing. This is everything I hoped it
You
would
would
be.
be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to
Kim,
voters who
it's
have
Donald.
concerns about your
I still smell you.
capabilities to serve?
It's like every
Well, I took
left-wing
two
mem
tests, cognitive
possible.
tests. I aced
Meme.
both of them, as you know.
Whatever.
We made it public.
Meme,
He took
meme.
none. I'd like to see him take one, just one.
I'm
a real
old.
easy
Sorry,
one.
dude.
Like go through the first 5 questions. You couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood.
Morningwood.
Club championships, not even senior. 2
Oh,
regular
here we
club
go.
championships. To do
He's
that,
breaking out his
you have
golf
to be
record.
quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in
Come
pretty
on,
good
man.
shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm
I
probably
got
a little
51.
bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape as I was.
If he brings up
years
falling
ago.
off a
I feel
bike
very
right
good.
now.
I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced him. A great guy. When he
You guys
was
are
White
really
House staff,
pissing me
and then I
off
took
doing
another
that.
one, a similar one.
Oh.
And one of them said they'd never seen anybody ace him.
Thank you. President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds.
What?
Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what you're. Anyway,
What is he
Just a-
talking about?
We're screwed.
I'd be happy to have a
We're in
private
trouble.
contest, man.
What the fuck
I
is
got
going
my
on?
handicap, which when I was vice
They're
president.
talking about golf. They're comparing golf handicaps.
And, oh, by the way,
I'm a better
I told
golfer.
you-
Look at
Let
Trump's
me
laughing his
president,
ass
for the
off.
love of God.
think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. He's a 6 handicap ball.
But you know how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
This is out of control.
Like children.
Stupid.
Oh my
It's
god.
awesome.
It's over in 6 minutes, correct?
Will
I
you
don't.
pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the result
the
of this
Jesus
election,
Christ.
regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable?
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course.
Oh, come on.
And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen.
I don't know
In
about the
addition to
strongest, but he
speech
did
I
make
made
statements.
in front of,
Yeah.
I believe, about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol, and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as
Mhm.
Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that loud and clear. Election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political appointment, because I was his opponent. I wish he was a great president. I would rather have that. I wouldn't be here. I don't mind being here. The only reason I'm here is he's so bad as a president that I'm going to make America great.
I think we all wish that he was a great president.
Yeah,
Failing
exactly.
nation right now.
Yeah.
We're a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because of him. His policies are so bad. His military policies are insane.
Yeah, skipping's getting bad. How many people are watching this?
He will drive us into
16
World
million?
War III,
1
and we're
billion.
closer to World War III.
I think it's
than
like
anybody
1,000
can imagine.
trillion.
We are
1,000
very, very
trillion.
close to
10
World War
10,000
III,
trillion
and he's
people,
driving
Joseph.
us there.
No
And
trillion
Kim
millionaires in
Jong-un
this country.
and
All the
President Xi of
trillionaires
China,
are
Kim
watching
Jong-un
us.
of
That's
North
the
Korea,
problem.
all of these, Putin, they don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have nothing going with this gentleman.
right.
And he's going to drive us into World War III.
He's right.
We're
You want
almost
a
there
World
now.
War III. Let him follow and win, and let Putin say, "Do what you want, NATO. Just do what you want."
How do you claim
Let's
that the
pull
guy who
Article
didn't get
5,
you into war is going to get
attack
you into
on one-
war while the guy who is president is getting you into war?
The idea. I can't think.
Just
of a
wondering.
single
What's the
sad
major
part
what's
is
the quote
they'll-
from
they'll believe
1984?
that.
wouldn't trade places
The
with job
regime will
like
make
done
you not
what
believe
they've
your
done.
eyes and ears, and
That's the
Because
one.
we're a powerful nation. We have wonderful people. It's because of the people, not me. It's because of the American people. They're capable of anything, and they step up when they're needed. And right now, we're
Why does he
needed.
look so angry?
We're needed to protect the world because of our own safety is
Gotta
at stake.
poop.
And again, you want to have a war.
He already
Let's
pooped.
go ahead and
Poop
take
in his
the lead,
pants.
He's got
make
the
sure they
pens.
Move on. See what happens
He's
in
good.
Poland, Hungary, and other places along.
President Trump, as I come back to you for a follow-up, the question was, will you accept the results of this election, regardless
They
of
won't
who
let
wins?
this go.
Just to finish what he said, if I might, Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush.
Russia.
They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing.
Come on.
Games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games. He took nothing from me. But now he's going to take the whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started ever with me. And he's going to take Ukraine. And, you know, you asked me a question before, would you do this with, he's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia. He said, I will never settle until such time. They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so sad. They've lost so many people, and they've lost
The average age of a man in
cities
Ukraine
with
is
the
43.
golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions. Russia would have never attacked if I were
President Trump,
president.
the question was, will you accept the results of the election?
If they're fair, sure.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level because the people understand it.
Let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time,
You're a cheater.
Look at his face.
Let's stay on that.
Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit.
That's not true.
State or local, none.
That's not
But
true.
you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There is no
81
evidence of that
million
at all.
people voted
And
for
I
this
tell you what,
moron.
I doubt whether you'll accept it because
Is
you're
that
such a
true?
whiner. The idea, if you lose again, you accepting anything, you can't stand the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last.
Oh, he's going
Be
at his
right
ego.
back with
Oh,
more of the
commercial.
CNN presidential debate live from Georgia.
There can't be more left, do you think?
This thing's been going on for an hour and a half.
It was supposed to be for 90 minutes, and then they each get their
I think
final
they'll get like a
statements.
closing.
Okay.
Yeah, Trump goes
closing
last.
thing.
Oh,
That's right. Yeah. You're right, because he picked the stage.
Yeah, Biden picked which side of the stage you wanted to be on.
Yep. How's everybody think it's going so far?
I think for the most part,
It's a shit show.
it's a shit show.
Yeah.
Trump has definitely, in my opinion, I think he looks the better of the two.
So then he's going to be our next president. That's what you said.
I don't know.
Well, you said whoever was the better.
If they let him, we'll know in the morning what the world thinks.
What the world
Wait,
thinks.
What the country thinks.
Are we waiting until the morning so that they can tell us what we're supposed to think?
No, we're gonna see. I mean, we're gonna see the responses from people. You know,
Mark, I just saw a shot of that drink you're drinking. Is there 18?
It's like 5 olives.
All right, that's a lot.
He's looking out for his heart health, Marky.
Olives are good, man.
Yeah, I think we're gonna know tomorrow what people's reaction to this is.
Puss in the microphone with his face.
What?
I just cut to you for like a reaction, and you're just pushing it with your face.
No, I don't know.
The look of a man who's truly given up.
Yeah,
I've been sitting here watching a feeble old man for an hour and a half.
It's fun, isn't it? It's
Who, by
fun.
the way, is not from Scranton.
Well, can we
Do
wait?
it.
Wait,
Yeah,
can we,
do
no,
it
wait,
right
no, wait,
now.
wait, wait.
Let's
They're
do it
almost
right now.
done.
Hold
They're
on.
almost done.
How
As
do you
soon
know?
as that happens,
Is that his camera?
that would be his camera. But as soon as they come back and they do their closing,
Can
I
you
would
do it in like a minute?
No,
Okay.
no. He trusts me. He needs to explain it because it's. Even I was like, oh wait, what?
Oh, it's true.
Oh, listen to their good music.
And I haven't really looked at all the numbers, but it's true.
Not to make it weird, but if we're talking about people who are involved in politics in Scranton, Mayor Jimmy Connors, may he rest in peace.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, Jimmy was not a bad guy.
He's a good guy. He's a
My
good guy.
question there is now: does Susie get half of both pensions after he dies, or?
We were trying to have a heartfelt moment,
How
Mark.
does that- well, I'm heartfelt. I mean, I like the guy. He was very nice.
He was a good Republican at one time too.
He was a Republican.
Oh, was he?
He only
Yeah.
won. He won as a Republican. In
Wait, he was a Republican mayor?
Jimmy
Use your
actually
microphone.
told me.
Use your microphone.
He said that. He said, he says, I know you're running as a Republican. He says, I won as a Republican. He says both times.
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then
Didn't
he
know that.
switched right over to Democrat.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. I mean, he's a huge part of this area.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I think on his tombstone it'll just say mayor.
Yeah.
It should.
should.
It should. I mean, he was a
It
good
should.
guy.
Yes, he was.
He was.
I saw him in like 1998 open up for the band Better Than Ezra at Tinks.
Really?
He came out, he's like, these are my friends from Louisiana, Better Than Ezra. And I looked at my friends and I'm like, is that the fucking mayor?
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, we're back.
All right, we're back.
As predetermined by a coin toss, we're going to begin with you.
Here we go.
Keep skipping. Notice it didn't skip during the music.
We've made significant progress from the debacle that was left
Debacle.
by President Trump in his last term.
Blah blah.
We find ourselves in a situation where, number one, we have to make sure that we have a fair tax system. I ask anyone out there in the audience or anyone out watching this debate, do you think the tax system is
Who
fair?
isn't in the
No,
audience?
we
Fact
all
is,
pay
no
too
audience.
much.
There is no audience.
Nobody-
Right? We're the audience.
increasing their taxes. And
Us
we'll
four
know-
assholes.
And if I
Yeah,
believe that,
right.
that'll be the case again. But this guy has increased your taxes because of the deficit. Number one, he's increased inflation because
They're,
of the
they're using
debacle he
COVID
left
to shoot all of
after
this
the
stuff.
way he handled the
That's what
pandemic.
that's what my
And he
guys are
finds
doing.
himself in a position
Blaming the previous
he now wants to tax
administration
you
for
more
everything.
by putting a 10%
Let's talk about
tariff
how that
on
feels.
And then they
like.
give the previous administration a
Well,
job
he-
as a
Well, for
some kind of
example, he wants to get away
Yeah.
with
attorney
it.
in the courts.
Yep.
How about that?
Amazing.
For
Well,
the
you know,
ability for
it is the key to
us to be able to
success.
negotiate
Right.
drug
Oh, I
prices
see
with
what you
farmers.
did there, Marc Pane.
Nailed it.
Guess what? We got it.
Keyed it.
We got it down to $35 for insulin instead of $400.
Blah, blah, blah.
$15,
No more than
$35.
$2,000 for every senior, no matter how much prescription they need. You know what that did? That
No.
reduced the federal debt by $160 billion over 10 years because the
Reduced
government doesn't have to pay the.
It doesn't matter when it's going up $1 trillion every 100 days.
Available to every senior.
How come he
all
mumbles
along
words,
what's
but
happening
they
in
happen to know what
and
he says
everybody
and
in
they
America.
print it?
He wants to
Isn't
get
that
rid of
weird?
that a significant
Well, they are on a
increase in
2-minute
credit
delay.
People have for child.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure we do something about what we're
Maybe
doing
there's
on
somebody there going like, "What did he
lead
say?"
pipes
And
They have
somebody's-
translators.
causing health problems for people across the country. We're going to continue to fight to bring down inflation and give
I feel
people a
bad
break.
for the person that has
Thank you,
to do the
President
sign
Biden. President
language
Trump, you now have 2 minutes for
I
your
feel
closing
bad for the
statement.
people that actually are going
Like
to vote
so
for
many
that guy.
politicians,
I
Sad.
feel bad for our country.
this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax, but he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do, all he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to pour in. Our military doesn't respect him. We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. Never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business
true.
with Iran, including
Yep.
China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians, and we talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times. The whole country is exploding because of you, because they don't respect
He's right.
you, and they have to respect their president, and they don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All never seen anything like, even from a medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get
Right
when
to
you're
try was a great
terminally
thing.
ill. Now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible. Choice for our soldiers, where our soldiers go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Thank you, former. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate.
Analysis?
Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett starts.
Well, I
now
thought that's
on
what we were
CNN.
doing.
Do you want to see like a minute of what these assholes are going to say?
Oh, I don't know if I can. I might throw up.
Well, who are they having do the analysis?
Anderson Cooper, whose mother was a Vanderbilt.
I want to kind of see how this ends. Like, do they shake hands? Like, what do we do here?
I'm surprised that Trump didn't walk over and shake his hand.
There's no
when they
volume.
First got him. No.
There's no sound.
Well, they don't want to take the chance open mics. They've learned from like
President, former president. making
Oh,
their
they got to
way
come and
off
get.
the
Look at they
CNN
got to
debate
get
stage.
Biden off
Looks
the
like,
stage.
Jill
Do they
Biden,
really?
the First Lady.
Somebody come get him.
Wait, what's happening?
Yeah, Trump's
The
walking
first
out.
lady came out.
The first debate.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't know where to go.
Biden's there waving to the crowd.
Yeah, he's way like yeah.
Tonight, along with Aaron Burnett, the first word on what those voters might make of it from our
All right, honey,
political
there's
professionals
stairs.
from our CNN flash poll.
Wait, you-
And
Why are
so
all these
focus
people out here
group
trying to
Oh
get him down the stairs?
Because he has
Harris,
no
Harris,
freaking
fact
idea where he
checker
is.
Dan
Look at him.
Ariel, and new reporting from Inside Growth Campaigns with me here. CNN political commentator Scott Jennings, Kate Bedingfield, David Urban, Van Jones, and this part.
They're going to tell us how great
Right over to
Biden
the
did.
mediators.
Oh.
They're getting their envelopes now.
They're getting their envelopes now.
Thank you. Thank you.
This was a game-changing debate in the sense
Wait.
that right now, as we speak, there is a deep, a wide, and a very aggressive panic in the Democratic Party.
Yep. Oh,
It
good.
started minutes
Good.
into the debate, and it continues right now. It involves party strategists. It involves elected officials. It involves fundraisers.
He will be
This-
removed
And they're
within
having
weeks.
conversations.
This is their way to get rid of him. This is
was
their way to
dismal.
start
We're seeing
worrying
people
about
hurt
getting
other
rid of him.
people down the party in the ticket.
This
and
was
they're having
always plan
conversations about what they
L.
should do about
We're
it.
going to get
Some of those
Kamala.
conversations include, should we
No,
go to
I
the
think
White
it'd be
House,
Gavin
ask the
Newsom.
president to step aside.
Oh my
Others
God.
Other of the conversations are about, should prominent Democrats go public with that call? Because they feel this debate was so terrible. They do say in moments in the
was
debate
terrible.
later, the president.
Like when CNN is saying that, like
Immediately
contrast
afterwards, they're
between
saying
the
this
two
is
candidates.
terrible.
yeah, they go right to John King to go like, hey, this is pretty abysmal.
Donald Trump had a great night. Donald Trump broke the fact check machine more than I can count tonight.
Yep.
That will be on the
Bullshit.
record as we go forward. He refused to answer some very specific and direct questions about his conduct, about January 6th and what all. So that will be dealt with out there.
We've
and sometimes
moved
in
It's
the
all
parallel
crap.
universe,
It is all crap.
Yeah, we've moved on.
Look at
It'd be nice
fuckface
to see
here.
what the voters say, but I can tell
He's
you, it
pissed.
started minutes in.
Cooper?
It started with the
Yeah.
first couple of answers, and it has continued throughout the night from a, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, to what do we do about this? And it involves very senior people in the Democratic Party, including elected officials, saying we have a problem.
And just to co-sign what John is saying, I mean, the
They
panic that I
just
am
figured this
hearing
out.
from Democrats
Right.
is not like anything that I have heard.
This
It has
lady's
to
a
do with, first of all, there
propagandist.
was a deep frustration
my
about
God, what do we
Trump's
do?
lies. I mean, he lied a lot tonight. But
Oh,
but
he
the
lied.
Who
problem
lied?
for Biden
Trump.
was that Trump was able to take some
About what?
sometimes incredible falsehoods and turn them into some kind of argument.
Everything that was inconvenient.
In a lot of
What did he
cases,
lie
they are
about?
Coherent,
Seriously.
deeply problematic.
You'll
that he
hear.
was not able to
They're going to
take
tell you.
pretty straightforward answers and answer them to the bringing things up that teed up Trump attacks. So there's a real concern here tonight that there's been some real damage done that cannot be undone. Biden solidified the perception among voters, but especially among his base. They were hoping that tonight would be a game changer. They are now who is in the White House, who they
Dude, you just had the biggest horse head shake ever.
can do this for another 4 years.
David Axelrod?
Nope.
Look, I can't argue with either of them about how a Democrat leader,
They've lost
Democratic
X.
leaders are reacting to this poll. We said at the beginning that each person had a fundamental goal, and for Biden, that goal was to appear energetic, engaged, and look like someone.
Yeah,
For
he's
4 years,
done.
For president, that was job number one. I actually
Carol Ann, they're coming for you.
judge this on sort of policy stuff. He did score a bunch of points on issues like abortion, for example, on some of
Somebody
the
just drop a-
economic issues. But
Metal trash
there
can
is
down the road.
there
Did you
is
hear
a
that?
Sound like
feeling-
it.
I think there was a sense of shock
Biden fell down the
beginning
airplane
of this
steps.
debate, how his voice sounded about, he seemed a little disoriented. He did get stronger as the debate went on, but by that time, I think the panic had
Do you,
set
bel-
in.
you
and I
guys
think
believe he
you're
got
gonna hear
stronger as the
discussions
debate went
Yeah.
on?
that
I think he was
don't
pretty
know,
weak throughout.
will lead to anything, but there are going to be discussion about whether he should
I mean, it seemed like he
continue.
perked up
And I
towards
think
the end.
part of
Use
it
your-
is
use your
Donald
microphone.
Trump did not
I
meet
said it
his
seems like
mission.
he
You
perked
spun
up.
it all the way around. How did you even do that?
I have fucking no
It's not
idea.
working.
Did you unplug it now?
To be
Hello?
nasty,
Could you hear me?
to
Is it not even working
prevaricate,
now?
about a whole bunch of things, about his own record, about
Jesus
Biden's
Christ.
record.
Check 1 2.
And
All right, now
seem
it's working.
petty and small at times. So what you saw was a candidate who's
I lost my
deeply
train of thought
vulnerable
now, so
and a
let's
president who
forget
may
it.
not be able
Oh
to
wait, you
take
got it. He
advantage
spun it like. Oh, hold on.
Listen,
Watch.
if anybody in
Can you not hear me again?
I can hear you, buddy.
being an okay debate by Joe Biden, I'm living in a parallel universe. That was an unmitigated disaster for President Biden.
Yeah.
The second he walked out to the closing statement. The biggest issue for Democrats is abortion. And he couldn't give an answer.
Can't hear you.
He gave an answer.
The front way.
He couldn't even give a coherent answer on the biggest
Wow, they're
issue
beating
for
him up.
Democrats.
Yeah, they're giving it to him.
Where are these
Leading
microphones?
Democrats across the
China?
United States.
China.
Elected
China.
governors,
China?
congressmen who are texting me and
Well-
saying, I'm worried I'm going to lose if Joe Biden's at the top of the ticket.
Yeah,
Bob
this is not
Casey, I
good.
promise you tonight in the state of Pennsylvania,
Bob Casey.
is thrown up in his mouth because he knows that if he's got to stand next to Joe Biden, he's going down in Pennsylvania.
Good.
Oh,
I hope
Ticket,
so.
I don't know how it's going to
Dave
work.
McCormick might have a
Yeah,
chance now.
Yep.
Oh boy.
And I don't think there's any other way to slice it. His biggest issue. that
Is
he
there an
was
ambulance in the background
was
coming to
the
get him?
energy and the
Yeah, dude.
stamina, and he didn't do that. And so I think
The FBI
that
coming to
is
get
of
Trump again.
concern. And,
But
and I
it's
think for a
pissing
lot
me
of
off
Democrats,
because
that's
all
very-
we're talking
that's very
about is what
disappointing.
Biden didn't do, but they're not
Donald
talking
Trump
about what
also
Trump
had
did.
Really rough moments in this debate, and
Yeah.
talking to the Biden campaign,
You know?
they say, their dials started really.
This is propaganda, Payne. This is
Yes,
what
it
they
is.
do.
Well,
So I
it's
think
not
that's a lot
propaganda. We
about
all saw him go down in
character
fucking
and
flames,
the
but
kind of personal
like
nastiness that he was
they
putting on
should just
display.
grow up and say, you know what, our candidate sucks.
And I think now is a perfect time. And Mark, if you would like to switch to me, that'd be fantastic.
It's hard. It's
I will
been
do
on
my
you, boy.
best Chris Shermack impression of just.
That
Just
is awesome.
the ultimate of like, I've given up.
Chris, will you do it again?
Do it again.
Doing it. I'm doing it.
That was painful. I love Joe Biden. I work for Joe Biden.
I love Joe Biden.
He didn't do well at all. He did not do well at all.
and he looked.
Mark our words.
You know,
This is the
I'll give you
moment they
the
get rid of him.
Yep.
This is the beginning of them getting rid of him because they have until the convention to do it.
How I'm supposed to see it and say it, but I just want to speak from my heart. I love that guy. That's
I
a
just
good
want
man.
to say I love him.
He loves his
and
country.
he sucks balls.
He's doing the best that he can, but he had a test to meet tonight to restore confidence.
He loves his country.
of
He's
the country and
screwing
of
the
base.
country.
And he failed to do that. And I think
Joe
there's a lot
Biden
of
likes his
people who
bank
are going
account.
to
That's
want
about
to
the
see
bottom
him
of it all.
Consider taking a different course now. We're still.
Oh boy. Well, he's done
It is
tonight.
time for this
Did he
party
just
to
say
figure out
take
a
him a
different
different?
way
Yeah,
to do it.
Yep.
Allow us to
different
do
course
it.
They're
now.
fully
dude,
saying
gonna
he's
get
got to
rid of him.
go.
Is,
So
not
now
what
they're
we needed from Joe
considering.
Biden, and it's personally painful for a lot of people. It's not just
We
panic,
all
it's
called
pain
this.
of what
Yeah.
we saw tonight.
And if I may just add to that, I think Joe Biden lost in the first 3 minutes. I think a lot of voters probably tuned out because if people are having conversations with their families. If he should step aside. And I'm someone who believes the former president is a threat to democracy. I think he is a threat
Not a
to
real
the
thing.
America as we know it. He wants to fundamentally change our institutions. He has laid out what
He
his
wants to
plan is.
fix them or
I am not
destroy the ones that
confident
are
That is
broken.
the man to
Yeah.
take him on. You cannot tell me democracy is on the line and then give that performance tonight. If based on that, in 18 weeks, Donald Trump will be.
I think that what they're all saying is they know at this point, if you change course and put somebody new in, Trump wins. And I think tonight they're all realizing Trump will be the next president.
Well, as long as they don't cheat their way back into it.
So now there's a watch party over at the Post that Paige Cognetti and them are having, correct?
I think they're having the same
Tonight?
conversation.
Yeah, well, I know
Post,
they just
like-
put a nice pavilion out on the side of it.
Should we?
Kind
Are
of
you
high.
saying? Are you
Should
saying
we-
you want to go get an ice cream?
Should
I'm
we
thinking
go?
if we drive over, she's going to be hanging with like a number 4 extension cord by her neck.
Should
I
we?
think she just like
should
just
we
said,
go?
screw this and hung herself.
You know.
If she watched the same debate we did, she's definitely got to be like
These
oh
people
my
here.
God.
These I think people who believe in this party will. I think that they'll be forced to say yes.
The sad
They did
part
great.
is the people that believe in that party don't realize that it's not that party anymore.
No,
You know
I
what I
highly,
mean?
I highly.
I
you know,
believed in the Democrat Party at one point in time in my life, but it's not the same Democrat Party that it used to be.
No, I think now it's. I hate to say it, but it's authoritarian. It's very dark. That's what they want to do. This is what it is. He's the leader. He's the high priest of the psychotic communist cult.
Could be.
Well, these people are going to rip each other apart.
Well, that's the fun thing to watch, isn't it? It's like what? It's like the Godzilla meme. It's like let them fight.
I feel like I'm watching the Titanic go down for the second time.
Can we bring
I
back
think they all
dueling?
think that it sucks. I don't hear any of them saying that he did well.
Not one.
No,
dude,
this is
not
bad.
one.
This is
And
real
so
bad.
There were people who could have run and didn't run because the history of that.
Now they're
is
blaming other
bad.
people for not
Yeah,
running.
see?
Now, he is the nominee of the Democratic Party. This isn't the 60s, okay? Voters.
What do you think? You
choose
want
the
to put these
nominee.
clowns to bed
He is
and
the
do a
nominee.
wrap up?
Only he
Yeah, let's wrap it
decides
up.
Yeah,
whether
let's
he's
go.
going to continue, and as you point out,
All right,
and
well,
as
let's
Kate
get
knows
rid
very
of-
well, this is a guy with a lot of pride.
Get rid of these.
Ooh,
clowns.
Yeah, he has
So-
no pride. He has
guys.
You
no
know what? I had a
nothing.
bad debate.
We just witnessed the sinking of the SS Biden.
Yeah, that was not good.
Do you think it was that bad?
Yeah.
I think the fact that CNN is like in a full blown panic attack, and immediately afterwards are like, "I love this man. I work for this man. He's a great man. He has to go."
It's like they're like, oh, I know that guy molested me, but he was my uncle, and I really
He was very
cared
gentle
he was-
about the whole
yeah,
thing.
That's
Oh, God.
that's what it seems like. Doesn't
Yeah.
it seem like that's what they're saying? Like this guy's a
Yeah.
terrible person,
He is a
but they're
terrible
trying to
person.
find something to not make them feel like pieces of shit.
Well, I think they're also trying to save face. Because
Well, yeah, they were all in.
Yes, yes.
they've supported this man and promoted this man for all these years, and now they're like, "Oh no, that didn't go well. It hasn't gone well for years."
Yeah.
But they're all part of it.
Are we going back to Spruce Street?
Can
God, you know what?
Mark?
What?
I know that between the four of us in this room, and I've actually made phone calls about this, there are people out there in our community who, for free, will change those signs at no cost to the taxpayers.
It's amazing. When I was running, that a lot of the questions were people, when I would beat them, they were like, listen, can you get Spruce Street back? And I'm like, well, I said, I'll try. We'll see what happens. I said, but you got to elect me first.
That should be a
You know?
T-shirt. Don't you think that should be a T-shirt
Yeah,
that you
bring
guys
back
campaign
Spruce
with?
Street. Bring back Spruce Street.
Bring back Spruce Street.
Yeah.
All right, real
that
quick.
was all because somebody lied.
Somebody did lie about
Somebody
Spruce
lied.
Street.
You know, they said that, you know, everybody was on board. Nobody was. Yeah, that was terrible.
Seems like it always comes from the same church, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Same church. Might be a different pew, but it's always the same church.
Mark, would you do us a favor and enlighten us about Joe Biden's history in Scranton, Pennsylvania, as our farewell to this carnivore ride down,
Yeah, well,
or canoe ride down shit stream?
Shit's Creek. So,
Chris, do you know this story?
Well, I'm going to hear it.
Well, I don't remember the years. I mean, I have the years written down, and I can't remember them. I mean, partially because I'm old. The other part is because I drank.
'Cause you're gay.
Well, there's half a bottle of goose down my throat.
Like I said, gay.
Yeah, no. But
No, but his boyfriend is.
Joe's mom and dad. Yeah, I'm not gay, my friend.
All right, let's hear this because there was an article. I read an article.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I have several. I have all the articles to back it all up too. But Joe's mom and dad. His mom is from, of course, Scranton. Finnegan, I believe her name was, and the
It's a
father.
nice Irish name.
Yeah, nice name. Yeah, good Irish Catholics from.
First of
Scranton.
all, the best people.
Yeah, we kind of get drunk and hit our moms at weddings.
Yeah, beat your wife, but whatever. In any event, they live down in the York area. So Joe's pop knocked up his mom, gets her pregnant. She comes home to Scranton to have her baby, which is baby Joe.
Do you know the story, Micah?
So she has Joe. Joe's born here in Scranton. And I don't remember the year, 41, 45, something like that. Goes back to York after he's born.
The old man goes back to York.
No,
Joe goes
too.
back.
Yep.
Born
Wife-
here, goes back to York.
Wife, baby goes back to York.
Okay.
They're Allentown, York area. They're down there.
Okay.
A few years goes by. Joe's about 4 or 5 years old. The old man loses the job. He moves back to Scranton to dump off his wife and his kid with his in-laws, the Finnegans, and leaves. He goes up. He's up in New England states. He was working for, it was some kind of government contract, some kind of stuff on boats. I don't remember.
Biden's dad.
Biden's dad. Matter of fact, his second child was born up in Connecticut, I believe, or Boston, I believe. She's born in Boston only a few years after. She's born up there. He wasn't from Scranton. That was it. Like, Joe lived here from when he was 5 years old till he was 9 years old. Because then after the father lost his jobs, again, he was down in Maryland. He was a used car salesman. He's down there. Well, the in-laws up here, like, what are you doing? Your kids are here. Your wife is here. We're taking care of them. So the old man finally became a man, came up, picked up Joe, picked up his wife, picked up, and went back to Maryland. And then that's where Joe lived. So he was here from when he was 5 years old till he was 9 years old. So when I hear all these stories, oh, Joe's from Scranton. No, he's not.
Where does corn pop come in?
I have no idea. That's just
Novembrinos.
What a pile of bullshit that is. I'd like to meet Corn Pop, see if he
was
kicked
a
the
bad
crap out of
dude.
him.
He
was
sounds like a
dude.
bad dude.
Bad motherfucking dude, man.
I don't want to tell the person who the person that we gave.
And all that is true. Like, you can look up all those facts, and if you look up like when the sister was born, when the father lost his job, where he worked, all that stuff, and you just write the timelines down and look. It's like, well, okay, Joe was born in Scranton, like left, came back when he was 4 or 5 years old, left again when he was 9. So he was here for 4 years.
To never return after 9.
He never returned, but he soaks the shit out of like, my Scranton roots. There are no Scranton roots.
The documentary will be out soon. Final thoughts on that shit show. We're getting text messages out the wazoo from everyone who's like, from Democrat to Republican, who's like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, I'm actually getting text messages about that.
I mean, I'll give my final thoughts on it. I thought Trump was solid. I think he looked more presidential than he has in the past. He had a lot of ground to make up. I mean, like, you know, there's some things he had to fight back against. But Joe Biden, I mean, I think the CNN panel at the end pretty much summed it up. Like, he's got to go.
Mark,
And-
same feeling?
Basically, absolutely. Yeah.
Commissioner?
Now the question is, what comes next?
Well, that's what he's got a lot to overcome with after 4 years of getting beat up by the media and you know, the scam of hearings that he's had
And
You
the
know,
lies that have been
well, sure,
perpetuated
and they,
for
they've
8
used
years.
that against him now for 4 years. But there's no doubt in my mind that he'd be the better president. He proved that as a president. So
he was.
I don't even know what the conversation could be after this. That's, to me, there's only one choice. So
did you have fun?
Yes. Well,
it's a little
it was,
late.
It
but
was
did
a
you
little torture, you know. Yeah, if a colonoscopy could be fun, I guess this was fun. But
Would you come back? Would you come back
Oh,
and
yeah,
hang out?
we
We
could.
won't do a debate. We'll
So-
just come hang out.
yeah, we'll do it again. But
All right.
what if there's another debate? We'll have to see. But
I mean, if there's another, if there's another debate, you know what we should do?
We will not see Joe Biden in another.
No.
debate.
What
It's
if
over.
there's another
It's done.
colonoscopy?
I mean, at
Well,
what age,
I'll
are,
bring
you,
my
at what age are
camera.
you supposed to do that? Is it 40?
50.
Oh, good. I got like 9 years. I'm good.
9
know,
years. How old are you?
they lowered.
I'll be 8 years. I'll be 42 in August.
They lowered it. You
Really?
can go in.
Yeah. Why do I look older?
Wow,
All right,
I
Mark.
just didn't
all right.
realize how old I was.
they
They have this new thing.
43?
You don't have to really go for that. You shit in this box at home.
Yeah,
and
you-
send that. You mail it in. That Cologuard.
I do that every Friday.
Yeah.
And
that's
both
what I-
positive and negative results are possible.
Yeah.
do you
So-
know? Do you know that there's people
I-
that shit in boxes to fix their gut health?
No.
We'll do a podcast. I'll tell you about it.
No, we won't.
I don't want to do that.
All right.
I don't blame you.
It is 10:59.
It's way past my bedtime.
I am incredibly grateful to have you guys in my life as friends, as comrades, because my wife's Russian.
Don't say comrades.
Yeah. Well, he won, so now Russia wins. I love you guys tremendously. I hope you guys had fun. I think I have a little bit hope more for the future, tiniest of bit.
I don't.
They're gonna
Well, the
cheat.
next few months are going to
They're
be
gonna
terrible.
cheat again.
It's going to get wild.
Lock and
Okay,
load.
okay. So, just a quick poll. Cheat again, yes or no?
Yes.
You unequivocally.
Unequivocally.
Cheat, yes or no?
Who?
The Democrats.
I don't. I feel like I am just.
Whether it's propaganda, whether it's ballot harvesting, whether it's turning the Dominion voting system wrong because Puerto Rico's now gotten rid of the whole system in their country because they're not trustworthy.
I
think
feel
it's
like
too
we're at
big
the
to
circus right now, and they're just going to start throwing out clowns and elephants, and I don't even know what's going on right now.
So you feel like you're in some sort of fever dream.
I feel like I don't even know which way is up and which way is down.
Could that
And
have
I'm-
anything to do with the booze?
No,
Okay.
I'm just waiting to see what happens.
Cheat, yes or no?
I believe there's going to be massive. Yeah, I believe it happens all the time.
When you come on, can we talk about that?
What?
When you come on, for
Yeah.
real, could we talk about that and like what
Well,
ways
these are
it's
my,
possible?
These are my personal
Opinions.
feelings,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
opinions. You know,
And that's the great thing
You know,
about
I
being
have to be
American.
careful because I'm here at the county, and I think we have good people that work in our election office, but they don't
I think we do
control.
too.
They don't control.
outside of there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When you get into the big cities and every other state, who knows what's going on? But I believe there's massive cheating going on.
We've had cheating going on in
It's-
Lackawanna County.
It's been proven.
Yeah.
They've been caught in
and it
the
was
act.
yeah.
So
Yep.
we know it happens.
Say
Wait, you're
No.
the cheating,
No. And
But
I
the-
know the names. I'm
but
the one that picked out the guy.
but the cheating the cheating that he caught at the drop boxes
Right.
was in that 2000 Mules movie.
But I'm talking.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I
one
sent
thing.
you a
but
picture of a lady. I was walking out
Yes.
of the county building.
I'm talking
and
about.
she was putting 14, 15
ballots
I'm
into the drop box.
But I'm talking about Lugar and Petnato way back.
Oh boy.
When they were
Here we go.
caught
When he fell through the
red-handed.
ceiling,
When
remember?
the guy came crashing through the ceiling because they were trying to get to the absentee ballot. So it goes on. We know it does. But now with the computers that we use that we vote with, God knows what they're capable of doing.
There's a great documentary on HBO about that. Everyone should watch it.
What's it called?
Oh, for the love of me, I forget the name right now. It's something like, and I'm doing terrible switching here because all my buttons are backwards. So.
Just put it on me. I've got this. Listen, it's going to be.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We love you very much. On our out, we are going to play you conspiracy theory music.
What happened to the Bernie Weekend at Bernie video?
That was at the beginning.
I didn't see it. We're done.
We did it, boys.
Rolling, hearts